If you've ever been ready for the MLB All-Star Game, you're in luck. It's tonight. And also, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. It is going to be Tuesday, July 14th here today. It's CPI day, and we also have some bank earnings that have come here this morning. IBM released some preliminary earnings, and yikes, not great. We're going to go through all the news. It's a T3 Tuesday. We got a nice guest for you here today. Then we're going to break down the stocks moving before that opens, and we're going to trade some of that. Good Tuesday on deck. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Tuesday edition for July 14th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your Monday evening. You watched the Home Run Derby. Schwarber lost it, unfortunately. I was rooting for him, but it was exciting nonetheless. We're back here for another exciting market day here today. Big data print this morning that is going to impact the market. We'll see what direction we go. We got some more earnings here this morning, the start of this earnings season with a lot of the banks. We're going to go through all of that. We're going to get you ready here for today's session. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Francis is first. Good morning, Francis. Great to see you. Early bird gets the worm here today. Zach McCracken, good morning, and good morning to the Benzi gang. IBM, big dip. You know, I don't have a news story about IBM, but I think what we might do here, I did actually kind of go through that preliminary earnings report. I can just run down some of the stats. We'll take a look at the chart. I'm sure that's going to be on deck here for folks today. Big B's, if you're out there, let me know if you're lining up a trade for IBM. I know you followed that quite a bit, but I think we might take a look here at IBM kind of impromptu. Zach, we'll see how it goes. Derek, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you as always. Peter, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl, good morning and welcome back. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Potji, good afternoon to the Benzi buddies and to you. Hopefully all is well over there in Belgium for you. Robert, good morning. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Derek goes on to say that the way IBM is dropping, it might go to 185, 195. We'll take a look at some spots here. Definitely is going to react at 200. I think 215, maybe 215 to 220 might be another support area. We're right there now, or we were there earlier, and so far that's holding. So we'll take a look at all that here, Derek. Helene, good morning. Welcome back. Zach, you already got your eye on 215. Let's go. We're also watching Oracle. Oracle in a 120 handle. That continues to break down. Look, at some point, Oracle is going to be too cheap to keep selling off. We'll see if it's already at that spot or if there's more to go on Oracle. Southern Couple, good morning. It's good to see you. Welcome. Hopefully all is well in your corner of the universe. Richard Judge, good morning. Everyone smile indeed. Great to have you here, Judge. Hopefully all is well for you. Rooster, it's great to see you again. Good morning. Producer, welcome back. I got some help here today, folks, so I won't be screwing up on some of the graphics and stuff. Missed you, producer. Good to have you back. Odie, good morning. Great to have you. Nice to see you. Welcome. Sergeant Sexy, good morning. Sergeant Sexy singing the song there, of course. I do the same thing. Lost Penny, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Ed, it's great to see you again. Welcome back. Jay Wild and Linda, good morning and welcome back. Captain Cloudy, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through, and Durkis, good morning. Brett, good morning. I see Mike K, good morning. Whis, good morning. Great to see you again. Robot to Trade, good morning. Loud, good morning. Best Life, there she is. Good morning. Matthew, good morning. Welcome back. Creation, good morning. Sharon, good morning. Barb, good morning. Yassine, good morning. Yassine, you ready for the heat? Today is going to be the hottest day this week, like 96 and humid. Oh, man. Got to get the exercise done as early as possible so you don't collapse from heat exhaustion. Hopefully you're well. Delvin, good morning. Welcome back. Jeff, good morning. Welcome back. All in One Media, good morning. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, mixed futures ahead of Tuesday's open here and ahead of the CPI print. S&P futures in the red, down by 0.19%. They're actually off their highs and continue to move down, so we'll see if that changes or if that continues. The Dow futures also in the red, down by 0.57%. They're leading the way lower here today. That's likely on the back of IBM. And then also the NASDAQ, that's actually higher. So NASDAQ higher by 0.41%. We'll see if any of these continue or if we get a move to all red here today. All right, let's take a look at some insights from let's take a look at some cues from last session as well as what's going on right here today. Energies, utilities, and financial stocks recorded the biggest gains on Monday, while information technology and communication services stocks closed the session lower. That drove U.S. stocks down as the NASDAQ composite plunged over 400 points during the session amid a surge in oil prices. U.S. stock futures were mixed on Tuesday as the NASDAQ advanced while the Dow and SPY fell, and that has continued. As the U.S. and Iran attacks continued for the third straight night, U.S. Central Command said that operations were aimed at imposing, quote, a heavy cost, end quote, on Iranian forces and reducing their ability to attack commercial shipping and civilians in the Strait of Hormuz. Responding to President Trump's Truth Social post calling the U.S. the guardian of the Hormuz Strait, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi argued that, quote, Iran has always been the guardian of the strait and will remain so forever, end quote. Investors await the June Consumer Price Index data scheduled to be released before the market opens. According to FactSet, the median year-over-year estimate for the CPI for June 2026 is 3.8%. If 3.8% is the actual year-over-year increase in the CPI, it will mark a decrease relative to the previous month. However, it will also be above the trailing 12-month average of 3%. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.62%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.28%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show the market's pricing a 58.8% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged during the July meeting. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today, and the first one is going to be Tower Semiconductor. The ticker is TSEM. It rose 17.5% in pre-market on Tuesday after announcing about a $3 billion worth of investments in strategic capacity expansion in Toyama and Nagata. The next stock on our list is Vision Marine Technologies, ticker VMAR. It surged 57.45% after it reported $48.6 million in revenue, $11.8 million in gross profit at a 24.3% margin, and $2.4 million in cash from operating activities for the first 9 months of fiscal 2026, as per its third quarter results. The next stock on our list, a mover from yesterday, Twin V Power Cats. The ticker is V, ticker VEEE. It dropped 4.55% after a 416% rally on Monday as the company announced a strategic merger and a concurrent privatization plan for its recreational marine business. The next stock on our list is going to be Agenus. The ticker is AGEN, and it fell 1.63% after an 83% rally on Monday when it reported updated 3-year phase 1B data. Results showed that several of its drugs in combination achieved a median overall survival of 21.2 months in patients with refractory microsatellite stable metastatic colorectal cancer without active liver metastasis, with 24 and 36-month survival rates of 41% and 33%, respectively. The last stock on our list is going to be JP Morgan, and the ticker is JPM. It was 0.16% lower as analysts expected to report quarterly earnings of $5.79 per share on revenue of $50.19 billion before the opening bell. Now, since then, JP Morgan's earnings have actually come out. JP Morgan's Q2 adjusted EPS came in at $6.14, which beat the $5.79 estimate, and sales came in at $58.02 billion. That beat the estimate of $50.19 billion. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart and see where we are. I know we've pretty much just been sideways recently. Let's see what's going on now. If I can get this chart to center here. We're still interacting with this trend line, and I think that's key. We're technically beneath it. We'll see where we end up closing here today. We also have another support level here. 744.5 is about where that 20-day is. The low that we put in here in the pre-market that I see here today is 747.40-ish. So about 3 points from the low if we end up breaking that at the open. As a reminder, we also have that 50-day at 741.75. 741.72 is the actual reading that I have. So more support right beneath that. And even more support after that at 740 as that level has held up quite nicely. So we're coming to a decision point here. We're either going to break some of these support levels and move lower, possibly towards the 200-day moving average, or we're going to end up breaking out here. It's possible, too, that we break out but still kind of stay under some of these highs. And when I say break out, I mean break out from the trend line that's compressing. But it's possible that we break above that and still stay under some of these all-time highs. I know we're kind of waiting for what is the next real catalyst that's going to break us out here. But it just feels like, you know, we've been talking about we're kind of waiting for earnings season. Now earnings season is here. So I don't know if the banks are going to be what does it. Maybe the CPI, PPI here this week are going to do it. But we'll see. We're compressing here. At some point, we're going to have a bigger move away from this area. Question, obviously, is whether it's going to be up or it's going to be down. Now, let's take a look at some insights from analysts, and then maybe we'll take a quick peek there at IBM. According to the latest LPL financial commentary, the U.S. economy faces a challenging landscape shaped by, quote, sticky inflation and resilient growth, end quote. With core inflation holding near 3% and headline numbers pushed higher by energy costs, the Federal Reserve under new chairman Kevin Warsh is expected to remain on a, quote, prolonged pause, end quote, potentially delivering at most a single rate cut in December. LPL research notes that this leaves, quote, a policy environment where exogenous shocks, not just domestic demand, are shaping the inflation trajectory, end quote. Consequently, LPL Financial expects 10-year Treasury yields to remain range-bound between 4 and 4.5% for the remainder of 2026. The corporate bond market is also absorbing a historic AI-driven borrowing wave from tech giants, which may pressure credit spreads modestly higher without causing broader instability. For the U.S. stock market, LPL's Strategic and Tactical Asset Allocation Committee, or STAC, maintains a tactical equity overweight and fixed income underweight. This equity optimism reflects the expectation that geopolitical and commodity supply strains will eventually ease, justifying a defensive factor tilt in equities while remaining cautious on rate-sensitive fixed income sectors. So, all right, let's go back to Pro here. I was already on Pro. I guess I didn't share that. Okay. Now that we're on Pro, let's take a quick peek at IBM. And this is what it looks like here today. IBM, wow. So this continues to get worse here. IBM down 23.27%. It's actually up off of its dead low at 217. So this is what the chart looks like here. You can see we were holding it up here right around 290. Big pullback takes us all the way down. Let's see, 217. We're right down here. This blows through all of the moving averages, a ton of volume shelves that we've had here that we've really been watching. And it really kind of puts this support area on deck. Now, looking at this, let's get the exact bottom of this candle here. Low is 212.34. So you want to call this maybe 212 to 220. That makes sense as the possible support area here. I know it's a bit wide. We like them a little bit tighter than that. But nonetheless, this is kind of what we're watching here on IBM. I'd be curious to know if any of you think that this IBM pull is overdone and that there might be a short-term trade on a regression back to the mean once we open here. But in any case, this is what's going on. Now, I did actually break some of this down because I was looking at this right when it happened. Pretty crazy. I'll go through some of my notes. Again, I don't have a story for this, so I apologize. I'm just going off of some of the notes here. They reported preliminary Q2 2026 earnings, and the headline results were mixed. So revenue was up 1% year over year, $17.2 billion. GAAP EPS was down 2%. Non-GAAP EPS was plus 5%. Free cash flows was right there at like $4.8 billion. So the top line was sluggish, but the earnings were supported by adjustments and I guess productivity there. As far as the segments in IBM, which I know was a big thing, software, that was the only bright spot in the report. That was plus 5%. So that's good. Consulting was flat, plus 1% on constant currency. Really not a whole lot going on there. But the main drag on this was the infrastructure, and that's minus 7%. So IBM still leans heavily on software growth, but that infrastructure volatility is clearly hurting it, at least in this. Did some gross margin stuff. The GAAP gross margin is 57.7%. That's actually down 100 bips. Core profitability is slightly worse, but cost controls and adjustments are kind of masking it for that non-GAAP number that we saw. And then as far as what went wrong here, IBM is calling out execution and demand shift issues in this. So the mainframe, the Z systems underperformed expectations. Customers redirected CapEx. And I think this was probably the big takeaway here, that we seem to be watching CapEx numbers and projections through all of these companies. Customers redirected CapEx towards servers, storage, and memory. These are due to supply constraints and the expected price increases that we've seen across the entire industry. They also mentioned that they failed to close large deals on time. Now, you would hope that they'd be able to correct this problem and that wouldn't make an appearance in a further report, but nonetheless, less than ideal there that they're not able to close some of those deals. It's less about demand destruction. It's more about timing and their execution miss. So I don't think that there's necessarily a read-through to some of the other AI names that we're looking through, at least not yet. As far as some bright spots, there were actually a couple. Red Hat, that was plus 11%. That's accelerating growth, so that's good there. There's strong demand for power and storage from this, so that's good. AI and hybrid cloud are still working, so that's good. Now, the other thing is here, there was a quantum push. So there's a $10 billion total in the quantum investment over 5 years. That's actually something that we've been looking at very clearly. IBM wants to be a leader in quantum. So I know we talk a lot about like Rigetti and Ionic and even QNT now. It's going to be important that we don't forget here about IBM. Just kind of summarizing this, it sure seems like this was an execution miss, but the AI and the software story are actually still intact. So that's kind of why I'm asking why, if there's anyone that's kind of planning for a shorter term trade here, or maybe any buy, maybe you are looking to add this as part of an investment. But like I said, just came out here this morning, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare for it, but did go through the press release. That's what I'm looking for here. Joe saying, Ryan, in your view, how specific to IBM are these supply chain infrastructure problems they cite? I would say mostly to them. Very clearly, or at least what they're saying, is that the customers are kind of reacting and then choosing to alter their CapEx and all of that. But to me, with all of the talk and even like the self-admitted talk about an execution miss, to me, without any other data point, Joe, it really seems like this is going to be specific to IBM. And furthermore, it doesn't actually seem like it's going to collapse everything, right? It seems like it's all within their control to kind of turn around. Now, again, we have one data point. So as we move through earnings season here, we're going to hear other companies talk about infrastructure, CapEx, and all of that. We'll be able to make a more complete decision when that happens. But IBM, this is what it looks like. You want to take a look at the intraday chart. This is what it looks like. Does look like 220-ish has held it. Again, that low print 217.70. And we also talked about maybe possible support going down to 212-ish. Tyler says, I've been buying IBM under 250. So this is great long-term spot for me. So if you're already planning on having a long-term trade plus a dollar cost average on this, this is probably not the end of the world for you, Tyler, or anyone else in that boat. Okay, let's take a look at some of the news here. First story I have for you is Rocket Lab. They're actually up. Rocket Lab climbs 3% in the pre-market after the critical neutron engine test. I know we talked a little bit about SpaceX launch recently. But Rocket Lab got some new news here. Rocket Lab, ticker RKLB, completed a full duration hot fire test of its Archimedes vacuum engine on Monday, marking a critical milestone for the company's Neutron rocket as it targets a debut flight in late 2026. The Archimedes vacuum, or AVAC for short, will power the Neutron's second stage. Rocket Lab said the engine completed a full duration burn and called the work, quote, critical preparation for Neutron's test flight, end quote. The vacuum variant produces about 1.2 times the thrust of the first stage Archimedes engine and is 2.5 meters taller because of its longer space optimized nozzle. Neutron is Rocket Lab's 141-foot medium-lift rocket designed to carry up about 1,300 kilograms to low Earth orbit and eventually return its first stage for reuse. The rocket will fly from Launch Complex 3 at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport within NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. Rocket Lab has pushed Neutron's debut to late 2026 after its first stage propellant tank ruptured during a hydrostatic pressure test in January. Company said at the time that it intentionally tests structures to their limits to validate safety margins, while outside reports said that the setback forced manufacturing and structural changes. The engine test followed other high-profile wins. Rocket Lab said its Victus Haze mission for the U.S. Space Force, launched 16 hours and 42 minutes after notice, commissioned its Pioneer spacecraft within 38 hours and completed a rendezvous and proximity operations in less than 59 hours. CEO Peter Beck said Rocket Lab had set, quote, the new standard in responsive space, end quote. Rocket Lab also agreed to buy Iridium Communications, or ticker IRDM, in an $8 billion deal, giving it access to Iridium's satellite network, spectrum, and more than 2.5 million subscribers. Reuters reported the acquisition is intended to bring Rocket Lab closer to SpaceX's vertically integrated system. Neutron would enter a market shaped by reusable U.S. rockets. AP reported that SpaceX has completed more than 600 booster landings on a recently flew one Falcon 9 booster for the 36th time, while Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos-backed Blue Origin has recovered New Shepard and New Glenn boosters. So we've talked a lot about Rocket Lab. We've talked about this potentially being a SpaceX light. Now we're actually getting some good news from its launch there, and the stock is responding positively to that. We've seen Rocket Lab be a pretty good trader for us before, and it looks like that is likely going to continue. We'll see how Rocket Lab does here today. Let's actually bring it up real quick. RKLB. Here we go. This is what it looks like. I'm going to go back to Pro real quick. This is what it looks like in the pre-market. So we traded up towards 80, couldn't quite get above it. We've weakened a little, but let's see if we can stay above that $76 level from yesterday. All right, next story here. This is on Meta, and this has also been a pretty good mover for us recently. Meta stock surged 21% in 3 weeks. Shea Ballure calls it the market's latest darling. How many of you think Meta is a darling? I'm almost scared to get those answers from the group here. Meta Platforms, ticker META, has officially transformed from a cautionary tale of extreme capital expenditure into, quote, the market's latest darling, end quote. That's following a rapid 20.97% stock rally in roughly 3 weeks, driven by a radical shift in how Wall Street values tech giants' artificial intelligence infrastructure. Between late June and mid-July of 2026, Meta experienced a blistering market rally with its adjusted closing stock price jumping from $542.87 on June 25 to $656.73 on July 13th. According to market strategist at Futurum Equities, Shea Ballure, this sudden change occurred because investors are no longer in panic mode over Meta's aggressive 14 gigawatt capacity targets. Instead, the market now understands that Meta has, quote, multiple ways to earn a return on that infrastructure, end quote, rather than relying entirely on advertising. Wall Street previously viewed Meta's AI investments, such as its $50 billion plus Hyperion data center expansion in Louisiana, as a risky cash burn. Now, Ballure notes that clearing up this gray area of infrastructure financing has allowed investors to re-rate the stock at a higher valuation multiple. So let me pause right there. Joe, doesn't this kind of answer your question? Seems like the infrastructure impact on IBM seems to be localized, whereas here in Meta, it's actually being cited as a positive. I think that is definitely going to continue. Thank you for adjusting right there. I just love when you do that. I just absolutely love that. Just got to keep me on my toes in the morning. A major catalyst for the rally is Meta's transition from announcing infrastructure to demonstrating real product releases. The recent launch of the Muse Spark 1.1 model and its associated API represents Meta's first significant step towards external AI monetization. By pricing its API at roughly 20% of the cost of competitors like OpenAI and Anthropic, Meta is aggressively targeting developer adoption. Furthermore, Meta is increasingly controlling its compute architecture through custom silicon, notably the new Iris chip. Ballure argues that even a partial shift towards custom silicon will materially lower the blended cost of compute and improve the overall economics of Meta's data center spend. Looking ahead, Ballure highlights Meta's potential to rent out excess or older generation compute capacity to third parties. While Meta may not instantly replicate Amazon Web Services or Microsoft's Azure, its ability to turn infrastructure into a direct revenue-producing asset is viewed as a free call option for the stock. Armed with an enormous install base of billions of users, Meta can deploy AI model improvements instantly, creating a moat that makes it increasingly difficult for yesterday's AI startups to compete. So has the thought actually changed here on Meta? Are you more bullish on this now? Have you always been bullish? I mean, I wish we had Lion here. I know we've talked about Meta quite a bit. All right, how are we doing on time? We're doing all right on time here. I'm going to roll through a couple more stories. I know we're also expecting that CPI print. I got my eye open for it, so we'll bring that to you. And we're also expecting a guest at the same time. We'll make sure we get it all done here. Thank gosh the producer's back so he can help me scroll stuff across the screen too. So appreciate you, producer. All right, we saw Apple trade up, set a new all-time high yesterday, did come back in. Congrats to any of you that shorted that intraday. Actually, in happy hour, found out that someone had done that. Pretty good trade there, too. Anyway, We're going to be talking about smartphones quite a bit leading up to its next earnings. Apple defies the smartphone slump with record market share. And this, frankly, at least as far as I'm concerned, should surprise absolutely nobody. This has always been the case. Apple, ticker AAPL, continued to outperform the broader smartphone market in the second quarter. But analysts caution that the industry's worsening memory shortage could weigh on demand for the rest of the year. Let me just ask a really quick question. For those of you that don't have the newest phone, if the phones are noticeably more expensive, justifiably so because of the memory chip increase, are you just saying, you know what, I'm going to bite the bullet, I'm going to pay a little bit more, I'm probably going to finance it anyway, I probably won't notice it? Or are you seriously thinking, you know what, I am going to sit this cycle out. I think memory prices are eventually going to come back to earth, and I should be able to get a phone at a more palatable price. Let me know if you have any strong thought on that. If you haven't thought about that yet, that's fine. I'm just saying, if you've if the die's already been cast, if you will, on whether or not you're going to upgrade, I'd like to know about that. Let me continue here. According to Counterpoint Research, Apple's global smartphone shipments rose 3% year over year in the second quarter, while its market share reached a record 20% for the second quarter. The company was also the only major smartphone maker that did not raise handset prices during the period, despite the soaring memory costs, although that's changed now. Counterpoint said global smartphone shipments fell 11% year over year in the second quarter to their lowest second quarter levels since 2023, as DRAM and NAND shortages pushed up production costs and consumer prices. Apple's growth was driven by continued demand for the iPhone 17 lineup, which remained the world's top shipped smartphone family during the quarter. However, the research firm noted that China remained a weak spot, where Apple's shipments declined from a year earlier despite promotions ahead of the annual 618 shopping festival. Older iPhone models also faced softer demand as component allocations favored newer devices. Counterpoint said Samsung Electronics, ticker SSNLF on the OTC market, regained the top spot in global smartphone shipments with a 24% market share during the quarter, helped by strong Galaxy S26 sales and aggressive promotions. Xiaomi, Oppo, and Vivo posted double-digit shipment declines as their heavier exposure to lower-priced devices made them more vulnerable to rising memory costs. Counterpoint senior analyst Shilpi Jain said the global memory shortage has become the biggest challenge facing the smartphone industry. Quote, the global memory crisis has now overtaken every other factor as the single biggest drag on the smartphone industry, end quote. He added that rising component costs, geopolitical tensions, higher shipping expenses, and weaker consumer sentiment are also hurting demand, particularly in the entry-level and mid-range smartphones. The firm expects industry conditions to remain difficult through the rest of 2026 and believes the memory shortage could persist into 2027. While premium smartphones are expected to remain relatively resilient because of financing offers, ecosystem loyalty, and AI-driven features, overall demand is unlikely to recover meaningfully until memory supply improves. And this is kind of what I want to gauge from folks, right? How is this actually going to change? Okay, we got a super spike going right now in the SPY here. So our CPI is out. Now, this was supposed to be kind of a light print anyway. So let's see what we got here. U.S. CPI year over year for June, 3.5 versus the 3.8 estimate. That number coming in light. U.S. core CPI year over year for June, 2.6 versus the 2.8 estimate. Another light print there. U.S. CPI month over month for June, -0.4 versus the -110 estimate. And U.S. core CPI month over month for June, flat at 0.0 versus the 0.2% estimate. So a really good number there. That's driving the market higher here. It looks like our top print here on the SPY, sorry, let me get that for you, in a 754 handle. So right back through 750 to the upside with authority. The question is going to be, where do we actually end up closing here? So a good CPI print. This was for June. We kind of expected this to be the case with the cost of oil moving lower. But we'll see if this ends up holding here. S&P futures obviously have turned green. They're up by 0.51%. The Dow futures are still hanging on to green, and the NASDAQ is now up 1.4%. So we just moved from mixed to green arrows across the board here today. So good stuff on that. Okay, one more quick story here before we get to our guest. Volkswagen CEO is warning that another 50,000 jobs could be at risk as the automaker scrambles to avoid factory closures. I know we don't trade Volkswagen here, but one of the reasons I'm bringing this up is because we've been talking about Rivian more and more. Remember, Volkswagen has an investment in Rivian. Didn't really do a whole lot, to be quite honest with you. Volkswagen AG, which is ticker VWAGY, their CEO Oliver Bloom warned employees on Monday that the automaker may need to eliminate another 50,000 jobs worldwide as it tries to close a 20% cost gap with rivals and avoid shutting German factories. As per a Reuters report, Volkswagen has already agreed to roughly 50,000 reductions across the group, including at Audi and Porsche. Adding Bloom's theoretical deduction would bring the potential cuts to 100,000 positions. Quote, "We are currently assessing across all brands, companies, and regions how many adjustments are actually necessary and feasible," end quote. Bloom wrote that in a memo that was reviewed by Reuters. Bloom said Volkswagen preferred, quote, "intelligent solutions," end quote, to plant closures. However, he said the company still could not identify competitive long-term uses for facilities in Emden, Hanover, and Zwickau and Neckarsulm. Hope I pronounced that right. Management has considered repurposing underused factories for defense production or assembling Chinese brand vehicles in Europe. Labor representatives blocked Bloom's broader restructuring proposal in a 12-7 vote on the supervisory board last week. Volkswagen's governance structure gives worker representatives and the state of Lower Saxony decisive influence over strategic decisions. Easy for me to say. The warning follows a sharp business downturn. Volkswagen's second quarter global deliveries fell 8.6%, the steepest decline in 4 years, while deliveries in China plunged 36.6% amid growing pressure from domestic electric vehicle competitors. Volkswagen plans to reduce annual production capacity from 10 million to 9 million vehicles and cut its model lineup by up to half. Tariffs have also intensified the pressure. Bloom said in May that trade duties were costing Volkswagen about 5 billion euros or 5.9 billion USD in annual operating profit. The 2025 operating profit more than halved to 8.9 billion euros or 10.14 billion USD. Volkswagen has pursued technology fixes through its Rivian automotive software venture, expanded XPeng, which is ticker XPEV, alliance, and efforts to overcome software weakness in China. Bloom said management would hold more meetings to find, quote, "the best solutions," end quote. So, okay. We'll see what that means for Volkswagen and for Rivian here. More job cuts. Seems like they're mostly attributing that to the decline in China sales, which is interesting. Okay. And by the way, really quick, so that super spike that we got up to 754, we've now pulled a little bit back. We've retraced about 40% of the big power candle there on the 15-minute chart. We're down here at 752 now in the SPY. So again, we'll see where we settle here prior to the open. All right. No guest yet. I do have one more story for you here. Okay. And producer, you're on top of that. Really appreciate it. Okay. Next story here. I'm going to do it quick. This one's on VMAR. And this is cool because this was one that we've done on All Access. We also saw yesterday V really just go crazy. So it looks like electric boats are kind of a theme. Theme me up, Scotty. I will take that for sure. Vision Marine Technologies, ticker VMAR, shares are trading higher during Tuesday's pre-market session. On Monday, the company reported 27% sequential revenue growth in the third quarter and improved cash flow metrics. Third quarter revenue rose to $18.4 million from $14.5 million in the prior quarter, with management noting the comparison is more meaningful as Nautical Ventures Group was included in both periods. The company reported revenue of $48.6 million for the first 9 months of fiscal 2026. And for the first 9 months of fiscal 2026, Vision Marine reported a gross profit of $11.8 million with a 24.3% gross margin compared to a gross margin loss only a year earlier. Operating cash flow turned positive at $2.4 million, supported by improved working capital management and lower inventory. Inventory fell about 44% to $20.7 million, while floor plan financing declined roughly 69% to $10.2 million. Vision Marine Technologies designs and manufactures electric outboard powertrain systems and electric power boats. It also rents electric boats through its subsidiary. Its lineup includes models such as the Bruce 22, Fantail 217, VX Electric Pontoon, Volt 180, and Phantom, serving the recreational boat market. The company operates in two reportable segments, sales of electric boats and rentals of electric boats, and it generates a substantial portion of its revenue from the U.S. In the context of Tuesday's move, the market appears to be rewarding evidence of improving commercial execution, which is higher revenue and positive gross profit, alongside tighter capital management, which is the lower inventory and reduced floor plan financing. So it's cool that one of our movers here is actually making some regular news and putting in a significant move. We'll see if VMAR gives us more action here today. All right, folks, it's Tuesday. That means it's a T3 Tuesday. Let's go ahead and bring on our guest. We got Red Dog for you here today. Scott, how you doing? Long time no see.
I know. I've been thinking about you. It's been a few months. I hope you're doing well and keeping to your process and plan and making some money in the market while keeping fit. How's your summer coming?
Yeah, summer is actually going great, man. I recently increased some of the supplements that I take. I've moved to flat out weightlifting 3 to 5 times a week, in addition to just some of the push-ups. I'm doing at least 3.5 miles a day, sometimes up to 5,
Really?
even in this 90-degree heat. I feel amazing. I'm sleeping better. I'm not using an alarm clock. It's been great, man. It's been absolutely great. Eventually, here's the deal, Red Dog. You need to help us out, particularly me, because I need to generate enough funds from the market. That's going well, but I need to increase that because at some point I need to put a sauna and a cold plunge tub. Yeah, I got to do it. You've sold me on it. I got to do it. So I need some help making some more money on that.
You know what? They're really not that expensive anymore, to be honest. Like I have my sauna in my basement, and that's where I do my 20-5-20 with the subscribers that want to get their sweat out and their mind right and hang out with me before the 6:30 club. You can get a really good traditional sauna that fits two for less than $5,000 now.
Okay.
Even a little bit less than that. And then ice barrels, you can get an ice barrel for 600, or you can get an Icelandic with a chiller for $7,000. But it's all relative. So there's lots of different options out there. But I do think you need to motivate and pull the trigger already. It's been a while. So
that's true. Look, I am scared of the ice bath. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be honest with you.
You can put it on a layaway plan also.
All right. Well, it's good to see you. It has been a long time. Look, I'm really curious to hear what you think about some of the things going on right now and some of the stocks. So I would say I'll turn it over to you here. Is there anything that's really kind of got you looking at it right now? I can ask you about a whole bunch of different stocks, but why don't you tell me what you got your eye on?
Well, first, like I was just talking with the Alpha team that the S&P is like 2% off the highs. And I don't see so many names that are so special, especially in tech land, that I'm like, wow, I could buy this, add to it, trade around it, and let it pay me. I feel like there's more vulnerability and just some kind of misdirection lately versus like I'm getting paid to sit in this awesome trending name. You have the semis that kind of broke, so they're rebuilding, trying to prove that after a huge move like you've seen in MU and SanDisk and Intel, and even not NVIDIA, but can they go again? So if you want to look at the chart of MU, it held. You could say that this was probably very systematic, where some people probably bought versus the 50-day. So at least we have this good book, don't we, Ryan? Where you do the right thing and you want to get paid, kind of like you're playing blackjack. You get an 11 versus 6. You're supposed to double down because you might get a face card. It's the right thing to do. So if you were looking to buy a dip in some of the semis yesterday, MU gave you a little reason to. From 12.55 to the 50-day, the 50-day has been support. So at least that's not like, predatory. We don't want predatory moves. But then you look at SanDisk yesterday. SanDisk went out almost on the lows. It didn't really even bounce off the 50-day.
Yep.
So that wouldn't have given you much confidence to buy SanDisk actively. And then if you look, at MU's up, 48 points. And SanDisk, I could see why some people might have even went out shorted, saying, hey, these things are in a corrective phase. SanDisk went out weaker, and now it's up, 70 points, 120 points, actually, sorry. So it's like, so that you're getting these like misdirection moves that are a little hard to handle.
Yeah.
And then I have some guys who are like, Red Dog, did you see IBM? I'm like, well, I people have been talking about this potentially happening in software for 3 to 6 months. That's why software has been so bad, right? I don't think many traders are quoting IBM. IBM is not acting special, so that's one of the names where it's like, you never know when a pre-announcement's going to happen. But they came out, they pre-announced, and IBM is down 22%. That's a lot. You don't want to walk into that on a summer July 14th. This didn't really give you any reason to be in it, but I do know some guys that have been saying, hey, you know what, Red Dog, Microsoft's acting better. So if you look at Microsoft,
Sure has.
it's acting a little bit better, taking back to moving averages. You didn't do the wrong thing by owning a little Microsoft, trying to play a little bit of a bounce trade, and now all of a sudden you're walking in and Microsoft is down, $12. So that's not fun as a trader, walking in when it looks good, a little relative strength yesterday. So to me, it's like, it's a summer. I'm trying to figure out things to do that, want to pay me to be involved versus just day trading. But, software is still very tricky. The semis are kind of trying to prove you could hold them, and it's not going into a longer rebuild phase. Space stocks have been horrible, right? Everyone loves, Rocket Labs, ASTS, but, SpaceX itself has been a disaster. So it's brought down all the satellite names, but again, at least this gave you some clues, right? You had a great 3-day move. That 3-day move, Ryan, was awesome. It opened up, it passed the art of the first day, which I teach, gave you some follow through to 225. So you had some action there. If you weren't in the deal, because all of us aren't billionaires in the private market, like the friggin' big guys, we need to make money, after the open. Sometimes you can and you can't. And then at least here, this 186, remember this 186, if this was going to be any good, it should have held the top third of the range instead of broke. Tried to hold a 150 a little bit, which was a key area. And then if you remember when it got added to the NASDAQ 100, it couldn't even rally on that.
Yep.
And it got like 5 upgrades, 300 price targets, couldn't rally on that. So at least that, according to the good book, said, hey, stay out of the way. And then it hit 136.78 yesterday. So I feel bad for, people accumulating. Everybody who bought the stock after it came public and after the first 3 days are all underwater. And most of the guys aren't even registered to sell yet. That happens in a few weeks. So
yeah, first 20% unlocks around its first earnings, which is going to be about beginning to mid-August. Our group here absolutely loves the space theme. We talked about the halo effect leading up to the SpaceX IPO. Very clearly, the air has been let out of a lot of that trade. Still some good names to kind of keep on the watch list there. But as far as SpaceX goes, you'd be proud, because one of the things that we have been talking about here is, hey, we actually expect this to trade lower. The IPO life cycle, especially with the hyped IPO, is that it's going to trade up early, then it's going to come back down, then it's going to base for a bit, and then you're going to get your real move. So I don't think a lot of people are stuck in that. We're looking at 135 next on SpaceX, which was, of course, the price that the IPO was priced at. We'll see what happens there, but the big catalyst is going to be that earnings. I'm actually going to be looking into puts, I think, for that, but that's neither here nor there. And I'm sorry, I got so excited when you joined. I forgot to pay the bills here, so let's do that real quick. Join Scott next week for his free Power Plays trial. 5 days of live swing trade alerts from his real money portfolio straight to your inbox. QR code is right there up in the corner of the screen. We've talked about how difficult it is. Maybe you want Scott to help you out here.
Yeah, the Power Plays is a great product because, I have a bunch of products where I have the alpha team where we just kind of, they see my positions, I talk through, I post 40 charts, then I have my note that has like 40 different names, my active approach. Power Plays is really to say, hey, I'm telling you what to do, and my best interest is yours. I'm not always right. I think our ratio is like 50 something percent, but the ones that win make you a few 100%. And some people just want to be told what to do. They don't want to decide between
Yep.
15 things that I'm looking at. They choose the wrong one, or they just, hey, tell me what to do, how to do it. Last week we put on 2 power plays really fast. Just say, like, I put on NVIDIA with
Mhm.
them, and worked really well, really fast.
Sure
We bought
did.
NVIDIA 210s on this pullback day, and sold a third. I also used my tier system with them, so they made over 50% in the power play from last week, and they don't all work out. And then I also bought Apple. I bought Apple as a power play, for them for September. I went out to the September 320s, bought some in here yesterday. Told them, let's sell a third, because that also was up 50%. So I try and teach people by telling them what to do, so then they could do it on their own at some point too, while trying to make them some money. So
Yeah, that's perfect. That's the whole ethos here. It's great when we talk about a stock and one of the viewers makes money off of it. Fabulous. Better still when they come up with their own plan and able to repeat that process. That's where it's really at. Good stuff there, Scott.
yeah. Like, what happens if Red Dog gets hit by a bus? Then I can't throw some bones in your
Well, I'll
doghouse
tell you what
anymore.
happens. The bus is going to have a bad day. Red Dog's in such good shape that bus is going to have a really bad day.
Yes, the bus will have a bad day. But again, like, teaching them, like, that's what the Alpha team is, teaching them how to do it themselves and understand why I'm in something. They'll make a lot more money than versus me telling them what to do. So, but everyone's different. Some people can't trade for a living and make the decision. They might be a doctor, a lawyer, a
Mhm.
policeman, a fireman, and they just know the market, and they've seen me because I've been around for 30 years, and say, hey, if Red Dog's telling me what to do, it's at least it has a chance, and it's something that he thinks is worthy, and hopefully, with the right management, it works out more times than it doesn't, and I can make them some extra cash flow, and the product is very inexpensive, to be honest.
Okay, folks, be sure to check it out. QR code top right of the screen. Red Dog, what else you got for us? What other charts you kind of like here?
So you were talking about the other, like, ASTS, the other space
Yes, sir.
names. Like, if you think about it, at least this also told you what to do. Like, we talk about the 8 and 21 day. When you're above the 8 and 21 day, there's momentum, there's some speed, there's some reason to be in it, like it was here. But then look at this fake out up here, that 129, it went to 133 and then failed, never filled that gap. So really right around here, which was about 105, which was still 30 points off the highs, that told you that this is no longer special. For now, it's in a rebuild. Came in, there was a little bit of a bounce, got rejected into the moving averages, broke 82, and now I sold some puts here. Like, I think, like, maybe your guys who really love ASTS, like, you could go out and sell the $60 puts, go out
Okay.
maybe 3 weeks and collect $3-4 to give you some room. But these names aren't acting well. Rocket Labs also broke below 80. This
Yep.
all from 150. Lost the 8-day, which is something you always want to learn when you trade actively for a living. If a name loses the 8-day, you're no longer in it as a swing. You could approach it tactically, but that's it. Here it was above. It was awesome. Right here, it was like, hey, be careful. And then it got
Mhm.
rejected there, and now it's below the 200-day. So this better reclaim the 200-day fast. Otherwise, you really can't do much there. So there are a lot of names have just been kind of in this drift. So again, like I started with you, like, the S&P is not even 2% from the highs, and there aren't that many names that are really rewarding you for staying long and being aggressive.
Yeah, let me ask you. We don't normally talk about this, but we're just starting to get some bank earnings here. It looks like Goldman Sachs is absolutely crushing it this morning. JPM reported a good number and traded down. Where are you at with any of the financials? Do you think that this might be one of the next sectors where we can kind of get a swing here or multi-day carry through on some of these moves?
Well, the banks have been strong, so it's not like all of a sudden, right? If you look at Goldman Sachs in March was 780, went to 1124. That's a beautiful trend.
Sure
The
is.
question is, we weren't sure, like, would these bank earnings be enough for it to continue? And as of right now, Goldman Sachs is up 38. So that's good to see. It's good to see that something that's not like it's been up here for a while. So it's not like it's so extended and priced for perfection. So it's good to see, Goldman, hit the ball out of the park, and it's up a lot. So now I would say, if you were long it, trim some. You always want to use a tier system. And now see, does it hold 1067, or does it, open up and fade? JP Morgan wasn't bad, and it's down 2%. So from my experience with JP Morgan, it's always noisy. Whether they kill it or not,
Yeah.
they always sell it down. It goes back and forth for a few days. I would think that JP Morgan is viable into this 324, 326 area, which is
Yep.
where it is. So to me, I would say, hey, if you wanted to get some exposure in JP Morgan, watch a 15, 30-minute low, buy versus that, and hold it as a swing. If you just want to pick a spot, this spot does look pretty good. But if if that doesn't hold, then you have the 50-day, which is below it, which is all the way here. I haven't been that active in the banks. I'll be honest. I'm not going to
Okay.
sugar, but I do watch it, and it'll also give you some clues on whether or not the S&P and the markets could hold up here. But it also give you clues that, hey, a lot of these things priced in to the move they already had, whether they have good earnings or bad earnings.
Yeah, and really quick on Wells Fargo, ticker WFC, you have a similar setup. That looks like it might come into the 200 there and hold that. So we'll see if Wells Fargo gives us a trade as well.
Wells Fargo's out. It's only down to is
1.3%. Yeah,
86ish. So yeah, that's and this chart's not priced for perfection either.
Yep.
Right. It's just kind of muddling along. So yeah, the banks look fine. The banks definitely, each one's gonna, like, someone was like, look at Citigroup. Citigroup was fantastic, and it's kind of lower with JP Morgan. So maybe you could buy Citigroup into the 137 or into the 50-day. So right now they're not running away, so at least it's giving you some time. So where's here Wells Fargo? Let's go to Citigroup for a second. It's only down $1.44. I think Citigroup probably worthy of a buy of the dip. It just might take a little bit of time.
Okay. Join Scott next week for his free Power Plays trial. 5 days of live swing trading alerts from his real money portfolio straight to your inbox. Scott, you want to land the plane here with anything in particular?
Not really. Just, again, it's summer. It's July 14th. As I said before, the SPY is pretty damn close to an all-time high. Feels like it's hard to see what's driving it right now in tech. I do like the semis overall. Someone's like, hey, Red Dog, did MU put its high in for the year? Water pistol to head, it's a summertime. I don't think it did, to be honest. So it's, this group is still very, very active. And I do think that, it's going to have another move. So this is something that, is definitely a front and center for us. Oh, NVIDIA, you know what? NVIDIA, to me, like I said before, yes, it was a little bit weaker, but it feels like NVIDIA woke up and gave you a nice little sequence where if it could hold this 203-ish area, potentially it can continue higher. So again, I'm just trying to figure out how to stack some days, make some cash flow, because at this point, the continuity of the tape isn't great.
Okay. Well, we'll see what we get here for the rest of the summer. And don't think I forgot. I haven't made it out to the East Coast yet, but I still have my eye on those Red Dog sandwiches. We got to do that at some point.
Yeah.
I haven't forgot. Life just kind of happens. So we'll be sure to do that here pretty soon. Look, Scott, really appreciate the time here this morning. Great stuff. Hope some of our folks end up joining you over there. And I hope to catch up with you pretty soon.
Sounds great to me. Keep fighting the fight.
That's right. We will. We will. Folks, that is Scott Redler, Red Dog from T3. Absolutely awesome. I say it every single week that we have a T3 guest on here. The guys are great. Barb, I just saw you guys are so awesome. You quite literally answered all of my questions this morning. I didn't even know that you asked questions. We just went ahead with the content and what we needed to do. And that ended up working. So really good stuff. Special thanks there to Red Dog. Looks like he's keeping that workout going as well. Okay. Yeah, really good stuff. Thank you, Crispy Biscuit. Totally agree on that. All right. Smart thoughts from this guest. Thanks. You're welcome. Red Dog is the top. Red Dog is the top. No question about it. All right, folks, I do have one street tweet for you here today. Let's go ahead and knock that out. Then we can do ticker time and get 13 on here for pre-market pulse. Street tweets is right now. This is actually perfect. I didn't know what Red Dog was going to talk about, but man, he just set me up so perfectly for this. I just love it when a plan comes together. Hedge funds are piling into the U.S. semiconductor stocks. Last week, hedge funds purchased the most U.S. semiconductor stocks in the last 3.5 years. This follows the two largest consecutive weekly sales since June of 2024. As a result, semiconductor stocks now account for 10% of total hedge fund exposure. This percentage is twice as high during the same period last year. However, this remains below the peak of 14% recorded in May. The takeaway from this: hedge funds are betting that the semiconductor sell-off is already over. The last comment that we got there from Red Dog, he was saying that people are asking him, hey, is the high for Micron put in the year? Lion, I think I've asked you before what you think about the high for Micron or SanDisk or some of the other memory names. And if I recall correctly, not trying to put words in your mouth, but you said that you think there's more room to go here. Now we're being shown a pullback down to the 50-day moving average, at least on Micron. So far, it looks like it's holding there. We're telling you that hedge funds are betting that the semiconductor sell-off is already over. What do you folks think? Does this change the mind for anybody? Does this change the trading plan for anybody? Let me know what you think here on all of that. All right, let's get back to Pro here. Let's go ahead and share my screen. We don't have 13 yet, so we will do ticker time here shortly. All right. What is going on? There we go. Producer, I'm locked up here. Can you hear me? Okay. Looks like we're doing okay. We see and hear you fine. Okay, perfect. Now, let's do a quick check-in here on the SPY post that CPI print. We gave that data to you. Oops. We gave that data to you as soon as it came out. Let's check where we're sitting right now. Okay, this basically came back to the VWAP, didn't it? Yep, look at that. Came right back to the VWAP. So, okay, cool. So we got a power impulse candle higher. That took us to 754. Now we've come back down just shy of 751, right in that 750 handle, which has also been a key level. We're basically right at VWAP for intraday. So we'll see where we go here from the open. My gut is telling me that our first move is probably going to be a pop. We'll see if I'm right on that one, though. Okay. What stocks do you folks want to take a look at? What do you got there? Ticker MU. We just kind of looked at that with Red Dog, but we could take another look at Micron here. I know we kind of moved through some of those stocks quickly. One of the things that I was asking you here is, does this bounce? And it looks like so far it's done a great job holding the 50-day moving average. That's the yellow line. The next thing we really want to look at here, a move through 1,000. That's just the round number. We also have 1,050 as your 20-day moving average there. If we can recapture that, I think that puts 1,200 right on deck. Right on deck. We'll see if we end up getting that there. Okay, let's see. CPI, we covered that, Izzy. Ryan, the market will go lower closer to the November election, so chip stocks will probably go lower. So you're talking about kind of the midterm thing there. That's interesting. Now, that's several months away. And remember, we're halfway through July. We've looked at a very, very robust July seasonality record. Maybe we'll get some catch up on that. Maybe we'll actually trade higher in the back half of July here, especially when some of these earnings reports come through. Banks are responding positively to that. They're pretty much, or Goldman Sachs is higher. And I know JP Morgan's down a little bit, but we just heard that might be viable. So we'll see. We'll see if we do get that November pullback. Now, November is traditionally a good month. I'd almost wonder if we get a pullback in September. I'm kind of crafting that based on seasonality. That might be a little bit dangerous. But see, Boogie, we'll make some more plans for December and November in a little bit. I think right now we might actually see a move higher before that. Zach saying ARBE. ARBE. This is ARB Robot. This is a penny stock, Zach. Come on, bro. We're not covering this now. We can do this during movers. IBM, we've already taken a look at that twice. Izzy, you got to join a little bit earlier. All the stuff that you ask about, we take care of that a little bit sooner. Just a recap here on IBM, 215 to 220. This seems to be the next support level. We're basically right there. If you look intraday, we did do an all right job holding that. So I think you can watch this level throughout the intraday here or throughout the rest of the day. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bounce back here on IBM, especially with some of the news driving us higher here. The Qs, which we did not take a look at yet here today. I know we always start with SPY. Here's what the Qs look like. We are beneath the 20-day moving average. I've actually got this at 715.38. Is that about right? Nope, 719. So look how great this is, dude. Look how great this is. So that impulse candle from the CPI took us right to the trend line. This to me, can we recapture this? Also, probably put that 722 value there. That's going to be your 20-day moving average. We talked about, hey, with some of these triangles that are compressing here, we're either going to break out or break down from some of these. And it looked like maybe we were going to break out of the bottom of this. CPI here today, taking us right back to that trend line. Let's reassess this. Those are some of those levels to watch, though. Would really love a close above the 50-day moving average here. I think that would help substantially. All right. It's time. 13's here. Time for pre-market pulse. 13. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, buddy.
Good morning. I certainly hope it will be. We do have a football game, soccer game. So
yeah, I was going to say, what on earth, dude? It's 61 days till football. Not that anyone's counting except for me. So don't even come on here. That's what the Europeans do. That's what the World Cup is here. It is soccer.
Okay. The soccer match.
We have several Europeans in here. I'm wondering if their blood is boiling a bit. But anyway,
no, they appreciate me, and that's all that matters. Anyway,
take that.
Let's go. I don't know why I'm having another issue with the chat not showing up here, but I can't see what people are saying.
They said, get 13 out of here. We need a replacement. That haircut sucked. No, I'm just kidding. It's just the typical positive stuff here. So if you want, you can leave and rejoin, see if that fixes the chat.
I'll try that real quick.
Okay. In the meantime, then we'll go ahead. I wanted to ask him if he wanted to do the movers first. CLSK, I know, is on the movers there. We'll absolutely take a look at that. Let's see. Let's see what he wants to do before I start diving into a new trade here. Let's see if that fixed it. Did that fix it? 13? I can't hear anything if you're talking.
Oh, there we go. Finally. Jeez.
Okay, but it's working now, right?
That was completely restreamed.
Oh,
it looks
yeah.
like it's fine now.
Dude, we blame everything on Restream around here.
Because they're the ones at fault. Anyway, now I can see everything. So
awesome.
That worked.
That's Buffalo by Bicycle says there's still plenty of summer left. Quit talking about the fall. Oh, I can feel that. I can feel that. Jay, happy IBM day. So Jay, another late joiner here. You can help out Izzy. Give us your thoughts on IBM. This 23% pullback, is it buyable down here off the 215, 220 support, Jay? Let me know. Give us your thoughts. Tell us what you think.
You had IBM and ACN also getting hit. Not on preliminary earnings, but because there was a this concern over rising costs of AI use. ACN down big on that.
Okay. Sorry, I had to refresh Pro there. Inopportune time to do that, but here's your ACN chart down 7.5%. And actually looking at this right back down to the level that kind of held this. I'd be thinking, 124, 120 being the absolute dead bottom of that. All right, 13, did you want to go over any of these bigger charts? Did you want to start with movers? Call the ball.
Yeah, let's just get through these movers. I don't know how great these are going to be. We do have 100% runner. It's actually a 300% runner at this point, but this is because of a merger. The other two I looked at, it might be okay, but it's not like a list of. I like to see when there's like lists of really, really high runners, like maybe 1 or 2 100% runners. We only have one of those, and then it drops down to movements of about 40 to 50%.
Okay,
but
I don't see. Did I do something wrong here?
No. Yeah. So CLSK, that's one of the movers. But I didn't take a dive into them because I already know what this is.
Yeah, I just don't have any 100% movers here.
No, we just have NXTC as the only.
Is that a penny stock?
No, it's not. It's the price is $9.05.
Is it not? I mean, why is this not on my list here?
Let's see how many shares are traded. That might be the situation.
Oh gosh, sorry, it's the sector.
No,
Nope, it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm a dummy. Okay. That's it. All right. What do you want? You want to start with NXTC? Let's just do that here. I've already screwed up enough here. NextCure shares are trading higher after the company announced a merger with Avir Therapeutics. This is what you were talking about really quickly. Quick peek at the short interest, 4.39%. I think that's 1 day to cover. Yeah, 1.22 days to cover. That's negligible. That's not going to do anything. Float, 3.6 million. It's done 51 million shares here today. This is what your chart looks like. Boy, I'm just going to pre-add this. I don't know if you're even going to talk about this, but I'm just going to pre-add this just in case. We now have a stupid level from a trend line here that's going to be about above 20 if it ends up getting there. But I'm not going to go into any more. 13, take it away. What do you got here?
Yeah, so this company is merging with Avir Therapeutics, and they are also going to execute a 302 million private placement as part of this merger. So they have funds that will last them through phase 3 of this drug that they're developing, IL-23 therapy. So I think this is a psoriasis drug. I forgot if this is the one I was looking at. That it was whatever the drug was. But anyway, that's what's happening here with the company. They're merging, and they're going to that's going to result in a new it's going to be an all stock deal. So it's going to be a new company, and the NextCure shareholders will get like a very small percentage, and Avir is going to end up with like 90-something%. But anyway, 3.6 million shares in this float. Currently, it looks like we're still on the trying to make a move up here, but we can't seem to close over $10. So I think that's the current resistance area to the upside is $10, and then you also have a little bit at 10.25 and 10.50. But $10 is the price we need to start closing over, so we can see some of those that trend line again.
Okay. That $10 looks pretty good to me. This has been already, unlike some of these movers that we take a look at in the pre-market, this stock's done a great job holding its VWAP. It was tested twice, both times it held. A lot of times some of these movers end up crashing right through it, and that sets up for a shaky at best session in the New York session. But this actually looking pretty good there, so we'll see what we get on NXTC. Good breakdown there, 13. What's next on your list?
That one.
Perfect. Shuttle Pharmaceuticals stock ripped to 6 in the after hours, came back in here in the pre-market, made another attempt, but you know what? That gave us a lower high, which means we now have a trend line out there. Let me take a look at the news here. Yesterday, looks like they had a HRT Financial bought a bunch of shares. They bought 9,000. That's not even that much. Is that a misprint here? For $336. No, they bought 9,000 shares.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with all of that, because if you look at the last transaction, they were selling 29,000 shares, and before that they were also buying. So I don't know if this is exactly what's causing this to move, but there was no news, and I thought that maybe this insider buying is what's driving it, because it really didn't start to move until the market closed. But this news came out yesterday, about an hour before the market closed. So I don't even know if this is what it's going on. But I do have some levels. I do have some short interest.
Okay.
So it's got no revenue. It's almost no cash. Really quick, it's not profitable.
Really quick, this buy, they basically hold 61,000 shares. So before these two sells, they were at 82,000. They sold a bunch. They bought some back. Now they're at 61,000. So they net reduced it by about 20,000 shares. That's my read through there. You were talking about some of the short interest on this. 20.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's because the average volume kicked up.
Yeah. So
did this also split recently?
Couldn't exactly say what's driving this. All I know is that it's trying to recapture VWAP, and there's also a level I have here at 475 from one of the previous times we traded this. So we're at we're kind of in a spot right now. Actually, I have two levels here.
Sorry again, 13. I am really sorry, but Wiss dropping some bombs here. Now, take this for the grain of salt. He's calling this his 2 cents. But HRT flips all high volume and penny stocks, so it's better to stay away from anything that they're involved in. So 13, it sounds like this little insider transaction there Now, you're not the only person that's had kind of trouble making sense of that. So, Wiss, I appreciate that. Keep that under your hat. Now, 13, I'm sorry for interrupting. What did you have here on the chart?
Resistance at VWAP, support at 65 EMA. Two levels that were also in between from past times we've traded this is going to be 430 and 475.
Okay. Good stuff. SHPH. What else do you have on your list?
LHAI.
Lahai, which we've called this. This is Link Home Holdings, ticker LHAI. Link Home Holdings shares are trading higher after the company announced the commercial launch of OpenLink. Were you going to tell us what OpenLink is, I'm assuming here? No short interest on this name, hardly at all. You can avoid that or ignore that, excuse me. Float less than 10 million here. It's traded 39, almost 40 million shares. 13, what do you have here? LHAI.
Yeah, so OpenLink is basically its decentralized AI compute platform. This is a real estate company, and they have a business that leases out AI compute. The company has revenue, has some cash, and it's pretty much break even when it comes to their earnings, their net income. I think 160 is your current resistance area that we're looking at here. We are coming back into the VWAP, so I would imagine that if we would trade underneath that. It looks like we're going to go underneath it here and maybe even get support down around 125, 130. So that's where I would think the next support is if we lose VWAP, which it looks like we could. But the news here is that they are launching OpenLink, or they have launched OpenLink, and this is a 2-year, $10.5 million service agreement.
Okay. Good breakdown there. And as you said, we're testing VWAP right now. I'm sure we can check back in on this. Okay. Now, Clean Spark is also on this list. I know we kind of all know what this is, but I think it's worth covering at least briefly here. Clean Spark shares are trading higher after the company announced it entered into a $6.6 billion 20-year lease with a global technology company. I'm guessing, if that's not pulled out by our news desk, that nothing was mentioned in the PR there. Quick peek at the short interest on this one. High. 42.88% of the float shorted, 3.94 days to cover. Well, it's not technically high on the days to cover metric. It is absolutely high, really high, frankly, on the percent of float shorted. There might be some squeeze action here. Although float 183 million, on average it trades 21 million. It's done 6.5 so far here today. 13, you have any thoughts here on Clean Spark?
There may be a trend line here from that 1540 high. If we draw it through the high that we just made about 20, 30 minutes ago this morning in the pre-market. So it looks like we're trying to get over this trend line here. Support looks like it's at about 1460, 1465 for right now, and then you have the VWAP underneath it. That lease means that they're going to bring in like what, 330 million a year over the next 20 years, which would be is that how much of an improvement is that on their revenue? It doesn't look like it's going to be enough to get them in the green, but it's gonna pull them over $1 billion a year. So there is that. I think I would just kind of wait and see what happens with this trend line. It looks like there is you're going to get that support at around 1465, and then if we continue with that, we'll wait for the break over that trend line. Otherwise, if we lose it, then VWAP's next.
Okay.
Yeah, see, Buffalo, this is a weird one too, because it was so heavily tied to Bitcoin. And it's, aside from its microgrid business, I don't know what else it does. I'd have to look into it some more.
The 20-year triple net lease, tenant pays taxes, insurance, and maintenance. That's very landlord friendly. Potential upside up to 11.6 billion if the 5-year extensions are exercised. Trying to think if this is good or bad. Short answer is net positive, but execution heavy. It transforms CLSK into a data center infrastructure play with hyperscaler backing. That's the expansion potential, but it's highly levered. So multi-year build with execution risk and Texas upside isn't locked in yet. So I think that's probably where the shorts are betting on this. So temporarily, but they still need to execute here. Interesting.
This makes a big question mark even bigger.
Yeah, it does, actually. That's an interesting way of putting it, but you're right on that. Okay. It does sound good on the surface. All right. What was one other question there? UBXG, and that is actually the second mover here. I don't know. Did you have anything on this one? Did you go through this one?
No, I didn't.
Okay. This, I don't see any news here. This is a China name. Stock is up 62% here. Here's what the chart looks like. Looks like it's spiking recently here on no catalyst. Here's what our daily chart looks like. So it looks like we do have a level here up at about 13, maybe just shy of 13. I don't even want to go to that 91, but we'll see. Quick peek at the short interest on this, 4.23%. Not a whole lot in there. What's that days to cover number at? 1. So really nothing going on there. Float 1.2 million. This is just kind of a low float China pump, it feels like. UBXG.
Maybe if anything, relative volume. This is the third day. I mean, it's already been trading on high volume. It had started on Friday, continued into yesterday, even though the volume was lower. We might just be seeing more of this continuation. But I don't know how great it's going to be. If this does, make a move, I would think, where is this? Like around 12 would be the next resistance. And if we go past that, then 20. Those are the next two resistance areas I see on a monthly chart. So.
Okay, yeah, I'll be honest. With some of the movers here today, I'm probably not going to mess around with the China pump with no news.
It's probably going to be one of those that they just latch onto and take for a ride because the float's low.
Yeah.
So if that's what you want to trade, go for it. Don't let us tell you what to do, but just understand the risks with a name like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. And then, EKS, just to be clear here, what company were they talking about with the data center and real estate net leases? That was CLSK. CLSK. Okay. VMAR was on here. This is Vision Marine. Talked about this a little bit earlier. This is just kind of funny that this has news and is moving after V yesterday. Electric boats.
Maybe this is the one.
At least.
maybe this is the dumb one today.
Maybe.
That was crazy with V yesterday. It went to all those. I think it went beyond where I said it could go. Because I was saying the low 30s yesterday, and it went to like 36. Yeah.
Oh man, this thing went to 40 in the after hours too. I took it off my screen after that.
Isn't that the pre-market that it moved into? Oh no, it is the after hours.
Blue is after hours, gold is pre-market.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, there you go. So hit all the dumb levels. So if you want to know the dumb levels, just ask me, and I'd
love for you. I'm still impressed you're able to give those. I mean, that's fantastic. Just to be very clear here, I know we're kind of going over it quickly. Vision Marine delivers 27% sequential Q3 revenue growth. This was part of our stocks to watch in the A block here in the Stock Market Today segment. This is why it's up here. They announced this after hours. So.
Oh, and look at this. HRT Financial was in this one too. I think there was mention that VMAR was one of the ones that this.
And actually, they're doing exactly what WIS told us they were doing. They're flipping this. Look at the ownership, and it's down to 0. WIS, good call on that. In fact, great job, WIS. And we just got another stock here really kind of showing the same thing. Okay. Soon, by the way, remember we were talking about this when it was 250 last week. This thing went to 420 here. Shout out Crow. I will keep letting you know what we get from him. Really, really good stuff there on that Soon move, though. And if we take a look here, 450 was the clear resistance. But okay.
CLSK is breaking that trend line slowly right now.
CLSK breaking that trend line. Oh, yeah, it is. If the battery dies in the middle of the ocean, you're cooked for good. Lol, no VMAR for me. Let me okay, so first of all, wouldn't you just call the Coast Guard or the Lake Authority or whoever that is on that lake? I feel like every lake I've been on, as someone to help stranded boaters. And how is that different than a gasoline engine breaking down or running out of gasoline? I'm confused. Anyway, all right, 13. We've got 9 minutes left here. I really need to run to the washroom. Is there any stock that you would like to cover here real quick?
What should I cover,
Not
folks?
real quick. It doesn't have to be real quick. It can be, whatever length of time you want it to be at.
Go ahead and pull up SKHY. Edward says that's moving. I can take a look at that while you.
SKHY. This is, of course, going to be SK Hynix. We do have this fixed here now. Here's what this looks like intraday. 13. I will BRB.
All right. So let me look at this intraday here. 5 minutes. So we're kind of filling a gap here on the 5 minute chart. There was a big drop between Friday, the time when the after hours closed on Friday, until we opened the pre-market on Monday. We are in that gap right now, and that's from about 165. Let me get the actual reading here. So 164.95, and that's going to take us all the way up to 172.09. So that's a pretty nice size little gap there that we are trying to fill right now. We might run into a little bit of resistance around the 168 handle. If you look, you can see like to the left of that gap, there was that support area prior to this drop here. So I think that could end up providing a brief moment of resistance on the way to filling this gap here with SK Hynix. And then let's see, we also have an intraday trend line we can draw here with some of this price action. And wouldn't you know it, we kind of broke that. We would probably want to lean on that as support. So I just took the high from Friday, and actually the first high from Friday, and drew to the second high toward the end of the day in the after hours on Friday, kept that going. And we are now we are now over this trend line here. So that gives us at least one measure of where we could look for support if the price comes back down. All right. And then
Don't worry, I'm here. Don't worry,
Okay.
I'm here. Just trying to get my headset on here. Sorry.
I saw that folks were talking about refiners. Yeah, refiners. Refining fuel has been, one of the things that we have been talking about, because we are diminishing our refining capacity globally with all the strikes in Russia, the closure of refineries in California. Of course, the Strait of Hormuz is also causing problems for all refinement being done in that region. So globally, the refining is pretty much down, regardless of where we're able to extract oil from. We can't just throw oil in our cars. Got to refine it. Refineries are strained.
Jay here saying, thoughts on SK Hynix MU? They're almost identical companies, valuation, business. Which would you rather own? In my opinion, I'd stick with US over South Korea. So I am too. So the big thing here, Jay, and they were showing this a lot last week, the percent of the memory business, Samsung and MU are about equal at 21% apiece. SK Hynix has the other 58%. So to me, it seems, at least in your case, you'd rather own the American name. That's always how it is for me. I would much rather own that. Right now, though, where Micron is, we're kind of in a trade. It looks better to trade here. I don't know that I feel great about adding it for like a long-term investment after this huge run. We were talking to Red Dog earlier. You actually missed it, Jay. We were talking to Red Dog earlier. He was saying how he gets asked all of the time, how is Micron's top in for the year? And he said flat out, he doesn't think that it is. So I turn that question around to you. Do you think Micron's high is in for 2026? Let me know. And Lion, I shouted you out during that too. You might have been back at the beach or whatever it is that you're doing. Let me know if you think the highs are in for Micron as well. I'm guessing you don't, but I'll just ask you flat out. Go ahead.
He probably has more of a time horizon of this is going to rally like maybe after the midterms.
Who? When you say he, are you referring to Jay, Lion, or Scott?
No, the gentleman you were talking about earlier.
Red Dog.
Red Dog, yeah.
Yeah. No, the high for MU is yet to come. Okay, thank you. We're still waiting for Jay's answer.
Yeah. So I was just wondering if, when he expects that that new high to occur, and I was thinking, well, maybe it's probably sometime after the midterms.
He did not specify the time, but the only time frame specified was the rest of 2026. So that actually still fits there. So okay, we have a couple of what calls? Let's call them there. The Goods says yes, the high is in for the year. Lion says no, the high is not in for the year. Clayton says yes, the high is in for the year. And Jay says no, the high is not in for the year. This is what makes a market, folks. This is absolutely what makes a market. Y'all are exemplifying that right here. Okay, 4 minutes. Any other chart you want to take a look at here today, or chat, I guess we should ask, because 13's just going to ask you too.
Yeah, I'm going to ask. Looks like all the movers that we were taking a look at here are either at support or trying to push through some measure of resistance.
Lion says the high is close to 1,600 by the end of the year. Lion, my napkin math brought Micron to 1,600 when I was doing that last week or the week before. So it's hilarious. You have the same number there. I will take that. Drew Tan says WDC. You want to do WDC, 13?
Sure.
What the heck? All right, here it is. Don't have a price quote for whatever reason. Okay, 592. So it looks like 600 test is coming here. 625 is basically where you have the 20-day. We do have some resistance at like 600 to 605. It was a previous gap that we already worked on filling, so I don't know how bad that's going to be. 625 looks to be the next spot here. What do you have, 13?
Well, Citigroup says it's worth $800. They just raised their price target yesterday. I think they think it's a buy. Looks like they're going to announce earnings on August 5th. Look at the chart here.
By the way, Wells Fargo, just a couple of days before, went to 730. So they have a similar price target there.
Yeah. So all these, all the storage chip names, like the memory and SSDs and all that, Western Digital fits in that group. They're all, trying to come off their 50-day SMA. They're all trading the same. So Micron is doing the same thing. They're all coming off their 50-day SMAs, trying to break back above the 20-day SMA. That's what they're all doing. All of them.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Let's see. SpaceX, if we took a look at that, that is trading up here. I would imagine, yeah, SpaceX started to trade up with that CPI print that we got. Looks like new pre-market highs here on SpaceX. Gosh, I'm really thinking 150, though, is going to be that next key spot. I guess we could say 143 and change if that was the pre-market consolidation area that we just blew away from yesterday.
I really like 150 as resistance.
Me
because
too. Me too.
That was support for, pretty much since we've started trading this thing. So now that we are beneath it, I'm going to look at it as resistance, unless there is some event. I'll get to that in a second. Unless there's some event that takes it back over 150. We do have a launch potentially this week. Usually after a static fire test of their booster engine for Starship, that usually starts to count down for about roughly a 2-week period before they actually do the test flight. Because they're on a monthly cadence now and pumping these things out much more quickly, they want to do one launch every month. And now we're open. And now this company is trying to get this turnaround time after the static fires to be as quickly as possible. So 6 days now compared to 2 weeks is what they're shooting for.
Okay. S&P first move here out of the open is down. 750 test coming. We'll see if we hold that there. I'm not trying to trade this. I'm definitely going to wait out this first 5 minutes till we get to that first trade window. Also had a really quick question here from Matt about Ondas. Is it bottoming? I mean, gosh, I sure hope so. 730 was a key level yesterday that we unfortunately lost. I'd really like us to get back to 750 here. Next spot down here, I've got at 5. And also, I think we're expecting earnings, I think next month, early next month. We looked at this yesterday. I forgot. Yeah, unconfirmed for early part of August. So that earnings is going to be key. That earnings is going to be key. I think it's going to be good based on what they've done this last quarter and how they performed the quarter before, but sure hope so. We'll see if this holds on to 7 today. All right. What else we got?
I'm keeping an eye on one from yesterday. It might go right to a trend line. QTTB. This is Q32 Bio. I don't know if you still have your trend lines on here for this one, but it looks like this is headed toward an underside trend line I drew yesterday. So if you start with that after hours low, not from yesterday, but the day before, should be the Friday.
It's right down about 13 and change, right? 1380s.
No, it's about $11.
Okay, so it's right here, and you're drawing it. I got you.
Yeah, see how we're headed right towards that? We might. Yeah, so that one is where I would think we could head to. I have a topside trend line too. That's going to send us up. It's going to be much higher, up in like the high 30s. I don't know if I want to really do that one quite yet. I ignored that wick. I just kind of went through. I just used the first candle before that wick. So I don't know if we'll end up hitting that, but it looks like we're going to certainly hit that. We could hit that underside trend line.
Okay.
Go back to some of these other ones we were looking at.
QTTB though, this is straight up out of the gate though. You're right about that.
SHPH, that dropped out of the gate, got near its 200 EMA. Now it's trying to recover, actually above VWAP now, trying to get over that 475 area we pointed out earlier. So after 3 attempts trying to get over that trend line, CLSK rejected and getting sent lower.
Okay, let's see if this firms up at 18. I would say there on CLSK. Let's see if we had any fair value gaps on that. Nope. Nope, nothing of note. Wait, I have CLSX here. Come on, I was going to say, how am I wrong? How are the prices wrong? Because I have the wrong ticker up there, dummy. Interestingly enough, I mean, it's one of the ETFs, so it looks similar. But anyway, 14, let's see if it holds. 1389 is your actual 65-day SMA. It's EMA, excuse me.
I just realized we need to make sure I have VMAR on here in case this this junker decides he wants to go for a ride.
I can bring that up here. SPY still pulling. We're beneath 750. I would watch the 750 call if we have any strength and want to turn around here for a potential trade. We'll see where this bottoms, though.
I'm sorry for how dark it is in here. I've got some pretty gnarly overcasts where I'm at.
That's okay. It doesn't even really look all that bad.
SHPH looking for 5. There we go. This is one of the ones that has a pretty small float. 577,000 shares. We could see this go for a ride. We're through one area of resistance at 475, coming up to the pre-market highs around 425. If we get through that, I think $6 could be next.
Okay, and there it is right at 5. CLSK, by the way, calls got bought into this. 3,000 calls. Trader spent 180K. Those are the 14 calls. Looks like it was bought into this move down here. I'm going to go back to SHPH 13 because that's moving.
Yeah, and so is BMAR is also getting a little bit of a move here as well. Still having a time with the 65 EMA and VWAP, but if we do get through it, there's resistance at around 210.
I'm seeing some Corning sweeps here, 200s and the 210s. That actually might be a spread.
The one that you mentioned earlier, soon, that was that popped up over VWAP. It's come back in after coming near the $4 spot where it was finding resistance in the pre-market. Okay.
Microsoft 390 calls. Bought in size there, $250,000 on that trade.
So SHPH, we're at a spot where it was finding resistance previously in the pre-market here. We might be getting through it if the volume expands enough. I'm going to draw a trend line here with these pre-market highs.
I see exactly what you're doing.
And that could take us, this trend line may actually be, because it lines up really well with the $6 level that I have marked off
here.
Sure
does. Look at that.
So if we might get to 6 here in SHPH. I don't know how soon that's going to happen or what it's going to look like, but if it wants that trend line, wants that $6 level, and the retest of those highs from yesterday in the after hours, $6 looks like the spot to me.
Okay, real quick here, Brian saying melting down, but I believe we go test that CPI print candle high today. That would be something because that's at about 754. Worth noting here, SPY did pull, but the S&P futures are right at VWAP, so potential bounce spot here. No signal for my indicator yet. Looking at the 751 call if we get one.
In happy hour, what I was looking, when I said I was looking for tomorrow after we had this red day yesterday, is we could still print lower, but I think we'll end up seeing a reversal to try to recover. So now we've haven't opened lower like I was thinking we could, but I still think that given some selling this morning, we should see a reversal later that tries to make for a recovery.
Okay, we'll see if we do end up getting that here. Looks like the SPY is trying to hold up here, and it looks like the S&P is trying to hold that VWAP. Still don't have an indicator, or excuse me, still don't have a signal yet from the indicator, although I was looking at that 120 price on that 751 call there. That moved immediate 14 cents. That would have been a good buy.
Don't look now, but V is halted to the upside. The 65 EMA has been keeping this price action suppressed ever since the after hours yesterday. So I think that's going to be an important moving average to watch for a snap. If we can start getting over or closing over the 65 EMA on the 5-minute chart for V, I think this may go on a little bit of a run. I can't say exactly where this is going to go. There's a lot of resistance levels to the upside here, but I think that snap of the 65 EMA on the 5-minute is going to be worth watching for a resulting move there.
Okay, and really quickly, that's at 21.35. Stock's at 20.88 right now. And by the way, CLSK looks like it's bouncing off 13.5. Jay mentioning JPM does what it always does here. By the way, SPY bouncing here. Still don't have a signal on that, but interestingly enough, JPM, love this, Jay. JPM does what it always does. Good report, sell off, gets bought, things green now. Should have bought this in the pre-market. Should have. In fact, I need a reminder for its next earnings for this, Jay, because I mean that would have been a great buy in the pre-market. I even asked Red Dog about it.
SHPH getting support still from VWAP.
SPY through the VWAP. Great bounce off the S&P futures off of VWAP.
We're still getting more upside from VMAR.
Got 40 cents on that 751 call from that bottom. Still no signal on that, but man, oh man, that was doing what we hoped it would do. SpaceX still trading higher here. 143 looks to be the intraday high so far. I'm with 13. I think 150 is still the spot of note there.
Yeah, VMAR running into that resistance that I was talking about around 2 to 210.
What a bounce here in the SPY. What a bounce here in the SPY.
No, I guess this is the reversal I was looking for. I thought it would have been later on.
I kind of did too. Although looking at the chart, futures basically came into VWAP and bounced clean off of it. Nice 60 cent trade there. It was a 50% move off that 0 DTE. I did not hit it, unfortunately. Damn. Good start, though.
Let's see. We should be getting an unhalt from V in a minute or two.
Derek, if you're still out there, weren't you talking about adding more VLO if it came into 12 yesterday? Actually went to like 1180s, and it is bouncing here today. VLO back at 1260. Did you end up getting that $12 ad yesterday? SPY still going. We'll see if it gets above. So the spot where it turned around right ahead of the open was 751.50. And it looks like we found resistance pretty much right there. Okay, interesting. 751.50 going to be your next intraday level there. Lion, new trade here. I bought Microsoft 400 calls that expire August 7th. August 7th. That is 3 weeks from this Friday. So 3 weeks plus on that trade. Microsoft 400 calls. I bought some at 12. Okay, there you go, Derek. That was, I tell you what, that was a really good plan. And so far, I know it's early, but being rewarded for that. That's VELO, VELO.
All right. Let's see what VMAR is going to do. I've already taken a little bit of gains because I don't know where if I'm going to get through this consolidation here from the pre-market. But if I do, I've got a trailing stop on, so I'm good to go for the rest of this trade. SHPH still dealing with that resistance around 5, but if we can get through 5, I do think that we'll see 6. Now, as I say that, it's getting a pull, but it's not down and out yet.
SPY is still bouncing here.
V unhalted higher now.
Uh-oh.
Trading over the trading over the 65 EMA. We'll see if it can actually close. Are we going to have another day of this? It looks like the current resistance is around. It looks like the current resistance is around 23. That was support in the after hours yesterday. It became resistance in the pre-market. Have not been able to recapture that level, but we are coming up to it and saying, get out of the way.
I was going to say, if we get another repeat like yesterday, that's going to be wild here for V. This is starting to go. 23 stopped it.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to see a repeat of yesterday, but I still think there are trades to be had here in this one because it's getting attacked. It's getting hit, for its low float. So let's see where it goes. And I have resistance levels that were, that $23 one is next. I would say $25.75 to $26 is after that. But VMAR still climbing slowly. It's just working its way through this consolidation from about 210 to 240. All right, I need to see what you guys are saying. Let's check robotics, RR. That's what everybody's talking about at the moment. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Massive downside that it's had. Gosh, where are we at? What is this like? New 52-week lows as of today or yesterday? It's interesting. This does look like, I don't know what the thought here is or what you guys are talking about, but it does look like this may be a good reversal spot here, a good pivot. But I don't know.
That's RR. Jade talking about SpaceX. Sorry, I'm just running through some of the stocks that folks are looking at here in the chat. 13. Feel free to interrupt. Okay. SpaceX still struggling with 143. And by the way, so the SPY came right back up to that area. We told you it couldn't get above 751.5. We're basically just trading sideways now. Velo still bouncing. Ondas still bouncing. Goldman Sachs still ripping higher. Man, Goldman Sachs, nice move off that. Up 5.5%.
VMAR still climbing. And WIS, they have a partnership. Thank you for that info. I guess I wonder if they have folks talking to some of these traders that are pumping this.
I did get a buy signal here on this for the 0 DTE. See if we end up getting that here.
Wow, VMAR is still managing its way through this consolidation here. We're getting to the upper end of it, another 15 cents, and we're there. Meanwhile, it doesn't look like any of those other movers we looked at are doing too well. CLSK still stuck beneath the 65 EMA. LHAI, this continues to come in some more. SHPH lost the VWAP, coming down to the 65 EMA. It's going to be in some consolidation area for a time. NXTC, sideways, but looking like it could go lower. So not a great morning for some of these movers here.
No, not at all. And I got to stop above my buy-in price there on the 0 DTE. So if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. But otherwise, let's go on a run. Let's snap 752 here.
Ooh. Well, that's perfect. That's exactly why I have this stop out here. So VMAR just got absolutely slapped and stopped me out. But that's okay.
The MAR. SPY is continuing here, so this trade is working. We're going to take some gains on the 0 DTE. Okay. And bang. Come on. There we go. Okay. Market orders filling a little bit slowly for me here. Green on the screen early. All right, 1 for 1 here today. 1 for 1 here today. JPM, is that continuing, G-Man? Boy, we really got to listen to Jay on this one. Jay, I know you've talked about this like multiple times, and I just completely forgot here today, staring at the red can. I even said the report was good and the stock traded down. This one seems like an obvious miss for me. I apologize for that.
Space names are pretty much up across the board. Very few are down at all. So looking pretty good for space for the moment. Biggest movers this morning in space are going to be AAOI. Saw some folks talk about that one. Karman Holdings, KRMN. MDA Space, that's ticker MDA. MNTS, which is Momentous. And Spire Global, which is SPIR. And YSS. Those are all up more than 2%. So is Rocket Lab. And Plug Power.
Neil Exon, do you have a strategy on trailing stops? Not for the 0 DTEs. They move around way too fast. Basically, as soon as it starts moving in my direction, I put a stop right above my buy-in price. So if it just instantly reverses, kind of like it's doing right now, you're able to not have a green trade go red. I basically took 15 cents off of that last trade there. And we did get an all-out sell indicator here, SPY returning back to VWAP. So I was a little bit ahead of that on this one. Trailing stops for 0 DTEs, no. Trailing stops for swing trades, sure. Let's see.
SHPH, it's on the move again.
Got it.
Trying to push through that resistance at $5. We'll see if it can take it. There's also a seller trying to walk this thing down. It's leading to a rejection of the VWAP.
So that still got rejected at 5, it looked like.
It's still dealing with 5, still dealing with the VWAP. But volume doesn't look too bad. So I'm still keeping an eye on it. Looks like VMAR trying to rise again. 225 was the high it hit. It's back over VWAP.
It's awesome that VMAR is running. Don't forget, we did an all access with VMAR here. He offered the next time I'm down in Florida to let me go on the electric boats. I'm going to take him up on that. I'll be sure to shoot video whenever it is that I end up doing that. But what are your thoughts on electric boats? 13, would you try it out?
What motors and batteries do they use?
I don't know off the top of my head. Let me see if I can find that out there for you, though.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know where their stuff comes from.
But would you, if you had an opportunity to go on one, would you try that?
Yeah.
Okay. The eMotion system uses a high-efficiency electric motor paired with marine battery packs.
Okay, but who makes them?
Yeah. Ooh, let's see.
Let's
see if we can find this out.
Lots of
UBXG is halted up. Sorry, 13. That's going to be the China pump and dump one. This is actually halted to the upside, just shy of that $11 target. Okay, here you go. So the batteries are Octillion Power Systems, and the motor is Vision Marine's eMotion electric outboard powertrain with no separate manufacturer. So it's their own motor, but the batteries, they're Octillion Power Systems. Never heard of it, but that's it.
I'm on their website right now.
Perfect. Ed says, I seen one on the water here in Palm Beach. Was it moving quickly? Did it look cool? Interesting stuff nonetheless, though. CMG, finally green. I actually had a buddy yesterday. One of my stock buddies reached out to me and asked me if I was in this. Said he's building a position. Told him I'm not in this. I like it. I want to like it, but I don't have a position here. But someone I very much trust, building a position here in Chipotle. I think the bottom is in here, don't you guys?
UBXG, it unhalted, popped up to 1195, and now it is pulling. It hasn't halted to the downside yet, but it almost did. It's a wild one. SHPH pulling big time now. Looks like that a rejection at 5 is
Hold it up
tough
there.
spot. Yeah. So this if this comes underneath 430, then I think we're going to see that $4 test down where the 200 EMA is.
SK Hynix, this plus 12% now, 170. Looks like it's going for 172. Let's check in on Micron. Micron up 4.2% here today. Lion says the boat looks as good as the Cybertruck. So it looks like a dumpster? Kenneth says their gas-powered boats are pretty. The electric ones, not so much.
Daniel's mentioning V. Have it on here. Okay, so that, all right. So yeah, this one's going higher. Went past the $23 spot up to the $26 spot now. Looks like it's about to halt.
I'll give you that timestamp as soon as I get it.
There it is.
Yep, there it is. Timestamp 9:52:41. V halted to the upside. Is anyone in this in the upside halt? Because you're green if you are. Anyone in V here? Great call on V 2 days in a row. Says Daniel. He's citing you, 13. Here you go, 13. This is all you right here. That's all you.
All right. Looks like we're getting some recovery in LHAI. There's still a seller on the way that's preventing upside towards the VWAP, but it looks like it's trying to recover here. NXTC, this looks like it's going to come down to the 65 EMA.
All right, we got a couple of other folks in V here. As you guys are, Sophie's pointing at all of you guys. Let's go.
Jeez.
Let's go.
All right, let's see. Next, so if we do get beyond $26, the next resistance is probably going to be around 28, and then you have a larger area of resistance around 29.50. So 28 and 29.50 next resistance areas to the upside.
Roger wants to take a look at Intel. Yeah, you know what? We've talked a lot about some of these chips. Really haven't looked at Intel here today. This up just shy of 4%, 3.75%. This was actually higher. Interesting. So this pulled off of the open. Let's see what the daily looks like here. Daniel, because the IPO day, the ticker in the system was SKHYV. So you're actually missing 1 day of candles there. That's the only reason. That has since been sorted. Is anyone looking at adding Intel on the pullback here? Maybe 100, 105?
It looks like this could still go lower.
Yeah, it looks like that to me too, actually. Just from looking at the chart.
Yeah.
Below 1270s, giddy up.
Looks like you have SHPH still heading lower. And when do we have UBXG halt?
That was halted 9:53:37, and that was its third halt.
Yeah, so it's going to be a while.
It's going to be at least 3 more minutes. Zoom CEO going to be on Mad Money tonight. I don't know if anyone still cares about the Mad Money interviews. IGV went green for a while, so software is doing all right here today.
Doesn't Mad Money provide good information on what's about to get sold?
I actually don't know. Like I know you might be making a bit of a joke there. That's actually really well timed. I don't know though. I don't follow it enough anymore to know either way.
Wow, Gary, you are killing it with V.
Bought V yesterday at 14, sold half in the morning. Gary, looking at you, Gary. Looking at you.
VMAR has a large seller in the way at 212. Shorting Intel 114, says BJM in the second. And what else is going on here?
SPY, basically, we had that little bit of a pull. We had that one move right back up towards 751 and a half, and it's done nothing since then. It's literally just gone sideways. And if you're trading zero DTEs, that is just eating the premium, just eating it up. Ryan, who is in that pick? That is Sophie Cunningham. Helene says, ditto, I used to catch Mad Money all the time. Only so many hours in the day and Benzinga wins. Helene, that is absolutely the right answer. One up for that. I also just not even trying to go at the guy. I just don't find that valuable. I used to watch Fast Money and I thought that was valuable, but don't even really watch that anymore. That might just be because I'm so tired by the end of the day. I want to go do something else.
Hood trying to move.
How did Hood finish up yesterday? Didn't we? Oh, okay. So that's right. We looked at this in the morning, but it really just kind of continued some of its weakness. See if this can get back above 115.
120 is the big spot for me, but I think it would do well to back test that 200-day SMA as support. Because it looks like we're headed towards a golden cross here. Probably, I don't know if we'll see it this month, maybe next month. But if we can lean on the 200-day SMA for support, I think that would help us with the upside. Because it looks like we just got double rejected at 120, and I would think that this comes in a little bit more. So that's what I think we'd be looking for with Hood next. I want to see a back test of that 20 and the 200-day SMAs as support.
Okay.
All right. How are these movers doing? Look like they're doing great.
See, that's the thing, Buffalo. That's I'm glad that I'm not the only one. I'm glad that I'm not the only one here. Buffalo says Fast Money used to be pretty good. I find it much better to not pay attention to that noise, though, and I like it here. And that is, you know what? That makes me so happy because Fast Money was probably my favorite finance show. And when I came on here, I was like, well, there's no way we're going to be able to replicate that, but I don't have to. I want to be able to do something that's even more beneficial. Great to see that vision is playing out here. I agree, Buffalo. It seemed more and more and more like noise. And Alpha Trade says, I get more ideas here. You know what? Pat yourself on the back for that because we've tried to elevate this community to increase the number of idea generation that happens on a regular basis. Y'all have answered the bell. So you're a huge part of that. And when I say you, I mean every viewer out there.
Yeah, and we're kind of working through another theme here that we were taking note of yesterday because we were discussing the Housing Affordability Act and what it's going to do for home builders and how it's going to benefit home builders a lot more than mortgage companies. But I brought up a question of, well, where does this put insurers? You know, are they going to benefit from it? And that developed into a conversation of we could see M&A activity of insurers, homeowners insurers, to have a completely integrated company from building, lending, and insuring. Because you already have some builders that are already picked up a lending company. why not an insurance company as well? I mean, Berkshire Hathaway is now one of the such company with their acquisition of a builder. So I think that's something to watch out for. We could be seeing some of these builders pick up insurance companies to become fully integrated.
This continues to trade higher here. I'm thinking 30 next probably. And by the way, opposite reaction in CLSK, that continues to pull. So it looks like it tried to find some support there, tried to bounce. Lower we go. We'll see if 315 ends up supporting this next. Yeah, and EKS, pre-market playbook, more of a trader's program, need more focus on long-term investing. Somewhere, Tim Melvin is absolutely fist-pumping right now. He loves that comment with every fiber of his being, EKS. And that's one of the reasons why I want to bring him on. I get disappointed the number of times we bring him on, folks say that it's boring. It's like long-term investing isn't boring. It's not boring. It's a good part of a diversified strategy. EKS, if you have any really good ideas on this, I'm all ears. Shoot me an email. Maybe I can brainstorm something. Maybe I can find a guest for this. We're certainly not going to get rid of Tim. He's one of my favorites. It's good feedback. That's really, really good feedback.
Thanks, Daniel. Pre-market playbook. Oh, yeah, you already said it. Okay. IGV solidly green. We're waiting for VMAR to get through this seller at 212. V, on the other hand, is printing 28, looking for 30.
And SPY broke VWAP. Now watch S&P futures. If that breaks VWAP, we're probably going to go test the below 750 on the SPY.
Tim is reading a book right now. Maybe.
Yeah. He's going to be busy later today when the MLB All-Star game is on. But right now, I could see him reading a book. Wouldn't surprise me. His trade alerts are amazing. Ed, I'm assuming you're talking about Tim. His trade alert service there's just winner after winner after winner in that. Maybe I'll get a link and share that when he comes on tomorrow. Sorry, 13, get in.
Retro, I think the bill or the act actually limits the amount that institutions can own or buy. So it helps there on that end. That's one facet of it. There's a whole bunch of other things that are also causing there to be a shortage of housing.
And it's being worked on, and I think we're going to see some results from that eventually.
B hit 29.17, kind of backing off at the moment.
Yeah, Tess, this is another really good point here. Long-term investing is how you get to trade covered puts and calls. It's all linked together. That is absolutely accurate. That is absolutely, and again, like I said, I do want to bring more of that here. I will think about that. Now that we've got some direct feedback here, I will absolutely think about that. And also, I don't have any official update, but we're still exploring the whole expanding the community via Discord and other levels of support that you can do so that you don't have to get a pro subscription. Although I still think that's the best way to do it, especially if you get hooked on happy hour and you start relying on 13's breakdowns for happy hour. It's all really good stuff.
I must have missed when UBXG unhalted because seems like it's been in a downside halt for the past 2 unhalts.
Yeah, so you did 13, but the reason that you missed it is because it was unhalted for a whopping 28 seconds.
Oh, wow. They need to slow down.
28 seconds, dude.
Wolf slamming down. CPI print do much to take people off. Possible rate hike.
You know what so Brian talking about the rate hike there. You know what I found interesting was the CME Group's Fed Watch tool. Just to read you that stat again, I know that was in the A block. We didn't have everyone there. Let me pull it up here. The CME Group's Fed Watch tool projections show that the markets are pricing in a 58.8% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged. That is the lowest percentage that I think that we've seen. I almost want to say since March. but I would have to go back and double check that. But I feel like that is a multi-month low for holding. Now, you could make the argument there that maybe people are thinking we're going to hike, not necessarily cut, but nonetheless.
If they're going to hike, I don't think they can be cutting it next year. It just wouldn't make sense to me.
Right, because you want that hike to take effect, right? Like you want to leave that higher. I'm with you on that. Retro says, what was the big Palantir drop at the open? It's all recovered to go green. Lion was shorting at full port. I'm kidding, by the way. I'm a little spicy today.
It's coming up to that 50-day SMA.
UBXG continues to pull back, by the way.
Agree. Been noticing higher interest CDs lately. Like
you're
getting ahead of that expectation.
Right?
Yeah, like getting ahead of that expectation of interest rate hikes.
NXTC so far holding that 65 EMA. I think you talked about that. Maybe I'm mixing it up with another stock, 13. I don't mean to be putting you on the spot, but this came in so far, held that 65 EMA.
Yeah, it's just that VWAP's going to be tough. That's resistance now. That was the support in the pre-market, and now being underneath VWAP, that's going to be resistance. I don't know that we're going to continue to get this support from the 65 EMA with the way it's looking. Would need to see some volume pick up here. But yeah, that UBXG is. We'll see if it gets support from that 65 EMA when it unhalts. Any thoughts on the FNMA, FMCC as a potential dip buy? Let's look here.
Helene, take care of yourself. You're more than welcome. We'll be happy to see you back here. Jody saying, what 3 stocks do you have in your retirement portfolio that are not AI? Well, I really do want to say Apple, but I'm sure you're going to make the case that that's AI. Starwood would be the other one in there. X-Ray would be another one that I have in there. Jody?
For FNMA, still need to see this recapture some moving averages. It's kind of going, it's kind of getting some support from the $6 level, but
I'm sorry, what was the ticker? I missed it.
This is Fannie Mae, FNMA.
FNMA, got it.
Yeah, to me, it looks like this could still go lower. Maybe there's support down around $5, but the way this is still having a hard time recovering, and it's not able to recapture its 20-day SMA yet. I would think that down is the more likely direction for now. It needs to get back above some of these moving averages.
LGHL, Eric, I don't see anything. Let me go through this form here real quick though and see if that's anything.
V trying to push higher. Still haven't made a high since that 29.17, but it may be running into some resistance here around 30, where the price was having trouble after it popped up to over 30, up to 36 and came back in. 30 was the spot where it was getting resistance for the rest of the day.
I also own X-Ray recently, built a nice position. They do dental products and services. I think that's going to be much higher in the future, personally, EKS, and I love that they pay a dividend in the meantime. So that's awesome. Someone else here is actually long that for the long term. Love it.
LGLH, any news?
Yeah, that's what he was looking at here. Let's go back to that.
Why is this not coming up? LG. No.
It's LGHL.
Oh, HL.
That's why.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know what this form is doing. I don't see any news here. 13. Let me know if you catch anything.
They just did a ADR ratio change last week. I'm sorry. No, it was announced last week. It is happening today.
Okay, so it's the ratio change effective today. There you go. Good stuff, 13. S&P pulled back to the VWAP. S&P futures pulled back to the VWAP. We're basically sitting there right now.
Looks like UBXG unhalted, went lower, and halted again.
Oh, that's perfect.
Looks like NXTC is trying to turn around here. Volume's much lower than it was before, so I'm not sure we'll get a complete recovery beyond VWAP.
Still that 65 EMA hold there.
Mm-hmm.
Retro, the DraftKings party was short-lived on the way down. So Michael Burry, the thought there is that Michael Burry took a stake in DraftKings and Flutter. That's now red from that stake. Wild. Let's take a look at Flutter. Is that the same deal here? Yep, Flutter also down 1.2%.
DraftKings down, oh gosh, it's down to its 50-day SMA, but it looks like we're going to lose it. I don't know where. I don't know what his time horizon is on this. On a longer term chart, there's you've got support from the 20-week SMA.
Ooh, really quick, 13 LEDs, LED, semi-LEDs. This popped into a halt 229.
DraftKings still having upside problems, it looks like. Lots of resistance in the way. All right. Some nice reversals both way. NBIS had good news in reverse. Software BTFD. SKHY selling off. LEDs halted. Copper is higher. Let's look at FCX. That's my copper miner.
GitLab calls into this pullback.
Oh yeah, up 3.5%.
Want to take a look at FCX?
That's up 3.5%. Yeah. This looks like it's recovering and trying to potentially go higher. Came near the 200-day SMA. Hadn't been there since November of last year. Well, it looks like V hit 31.36 and backed off. So in that consolidation from the after hours yesterday is where that rejection occurred. So that is currently the big resistance area that the price has to get through. We'll see if these traders can chop through it.
Congrats to everyone that was on V here today and yesterday, frankly.
EKS mentioning TGB, copper miner. Let's take a look at that.
TGB is in Bravo. Yep, I see it there.
Trecor Metals, $8 resistance. That's what it looks like to me. $8 and then $9. What does the financials on this look like? They're profitable for the past 2 quarters. Looks pretty good.
Palo Alto 350 resistance. Goldman Sachs still grinding higher. That thing is higher by 8%. Man, oh man, Goldman Sachs.
Oh, that might be why this one's up. TGB, they actually have news. They announced 36 million pounds of copper production from Gibraltar and Florence Copper in the second quarter. It had news. CRM getting mentioned here, as is Sober Safe. So BR.
CRM still on its way back from big pullback.
Silver Safe up 2.5%, which amounts to 3 cents. And you said, what was the other one?
CRM. It hasn't gone red to green, but it looks like it's retraced about 50% of its move down. FYI, Chairman Warsh is testifying on Capitol Hill. I don't know if this is going to be market moving, but I do see the SPY sinking here. I'm not sure if this is what it's on.
The Fed speaks, the market leaks.
I mean, he's still thanking everybody, though, so I'm just not sure we've gotten anything that's going to cause this to move here. But nonetheless, S&P futures beneath VWAP and pulling. SPY has rolled over.
Oh, God, he's thanking everybody. Sell off. We can't take this.
Called his colleagues superb. Captain Cloudy, 100% on puts. Well, that's going to give our celebration here. Captain Cloudy, looking at you. That's such a good meme. I'm going to use that for a long time.
Looks like VMAR really getting hammered now.
LEDS has resumed. So this went into that 229 halt. This is now open. Looks like, what, 238 there, and then it pulled?
They're really walking VMAR down right now. LHAI recovering the VWAP, or trying to. It's got a bunch of sellers in the way. If you get volume expansion, you'll be able to take those out. Sellers all the way up into the 170s.
All right, got 12 minutes left before we go to Anne-Marie. I don't have any setups here right now. Only one trade today on that 0 DTE SPY call. And boy, oh boy, we weren't even given another setup there. I'm lucky I went after that one. Lion heading back to the beach. Let's go. Let's go. What beach?
Looks like NXTC. A lot of these movers now kind of just breaking support. NXTC losing its 65 EMA. SHPH, that already lost all its EMAs. It's trying to search out a bottom. LHAI, this is breaking over its VWAP. CLSK trying to recover its 200 EMA after losing it.
LEDS more highs. Semis at the lows.
VMAR just lost its 200 EMA after getting support all morning from it. So that's now resistance. QTTB, one of the ones we looked at this morning, never got back up to the 23.26 high it printed earlier, but it's still hanging out above VWAP for now. V, waiting to see if we are going to get a red candle or continuation. We might have got a reversal candle from that last move that took us up to 31.36, but this is still a low float stock. We'll see if it's done getting pumped or not. BMAR really coming in now.
Outer Bank. Okay. Jay says that's awesome. Not familiar. But enjoy the beach day. It is the summer. That's the other thing, folks. You have my full permission to go enjoy summer if you want to. Don't waste it sitting in front of a screen, especially if you've got other things to do.
Well, I won't be doing a whole lot with rain out here.
Oh, is it pouring out there for you? Oh, that's right. The overcast skies. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, gosh, 13, I guess you're just going to have to sit around and make money then. What a bummer.
If you can make money in this market.
Yeah, I actually don't have a whole lot here, I'll be honest.
None of the movers really doing a whole lot. Lots of stuff halted to the downside. Kind of have to stick with some of the more slow moving names.
Let me just run through the top of the scanner here, see if there's anything. I don't even know what that is. YXT, that's junk. NXTC, we broke that 65. That's lower still on that one. LGHL, this pulled back maybe at that 9 EMA. I wouldn't try that though. LEDS still ripping 260 or highs. LHAI, this is another one. Is that VWAP getting rejected at VWAP, but it's right there.
Mm-hmm. I think it's above VWAP. It's just trying to hold above it.
I've got it at 135. That's my reading. So it looks like it went right there and kind of stopped. Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band tonight, right at the corner of my street. I don't know what that is. It sounds like something local, but it sounds like you're going to be having a good one there.
Reverend Peyton.
Yeah, no idea. I'm gonna be enjoying the MLB All-Star game tonight.
CLSK is trying to recover here. It's back above its 200 EMA.
Oh, really quick question here, just to kind of gauge the interest from the group here. Would you folks be interested in someone that specializes in short selling as a guest? One of the reasons I ask is because I know that there are folks that focus on both sides here. I fully admit shorting is not really part of my strategy. I don't view that I'm very good at it. I would much rather bring you someone that feels more confident and has more experience on that. Let me know if a short seller is something that you'd be at. Market Sniper, an immediate yes. Okay. I would imagine yes. Another one. I would imagine any guest like that would probably be pretty good. So
absolutely.
Okay. Yes, more yes. Okay, great. Oh, hell yes, says Big of Bees. Just had to one-up them. Big of Bees, by the way, well, how did IBM, how's IBM doing here? Took that off the watch. Ooh, IBM rolling over new lows here. Odie, Barb, okay, absolutely interested. Okay, great. That answers my question. That answers my question. I'll keep bringing a mixture of guests on. I know I'm predominantly on the long side, but I will keep working towards that. Thank you for the feedback, group. We're stock nerds. We love it all. No, and it will not be Michael Burry. It will not be Michael Burry. If I could get him, I would definitely try, but it's not him. Okay, great. You guys, thank you so much. This is another reason why I just love our group so much. I can totally rely on you guys for feedback. Guys and gals, excuse me, for feedback.
It looks like SHPH is trying to recover, working on recapturing its 200 EMA. Let's see what happens there. LHAI lost its VWAP. CLSK still trying to recover, waiting for an unhalt from VMAR. Looks like Velo is just dancing around 12 right now. 12 handle.
Is that still up? Yeah,
it's at around 12.50 in the 12.50s, okay. But it's like kind of back and forth in that $12 handle.
Okay, market did get a bounce there. I did get a buy signal on it, didn't follow it myself, and it is getting a sell signal right now anyway. I don't know that there's too much in that.
Yeah, V still not done. It went down to the VWAP, got support there, trying to turn around, still having a hard time getting and closing above 30.
Also, real quick, folks, just a reminder, here's your earnings calendar for this week. We talked a lot about the banks here this morning. Tonight, we don't really have anything big, I would say, but tomorrow we're going to have ASML in the morning and then United Airlines in the evening. So earnings will continue here this week. This is a quick look, and it will pick up as we go through the next several weeks here.
What's everybody trading right now?
Onda 7 calls getting bought. Intel puts getting bought. Actually, that might be sweeps. Those look like 100 put sweeps on Intel.
Do you think there's this, allowance to let everybody get into some short positions, thinking the market's coming down, and then we're just going to see a big old squeeze?
Look, the market loves to put as many people in pain as it can. Can you provide this link, or is it for pro only? What are you referring to, Knapp? If it's about the short seller, I'm talking about bringing a short seller on as a guest to the show. So there would be nothing you need to do other than continue to show up and hit the like and subscribe button.
VMAR is about to halt back up. It might. Let's see what happens when it gets to the 200 EMA. That was a support in the pre-market. Getting back up to that could be resistance. Looks like SHPH is back over 4, but it's struggling to recapture the 200 EMA on the 5 minutes. So we'll see what happens there. LHAI, this is back above VWAP.
13, before we move over to Anne-Marie here, I'm sorry. I need to step away for just one more second. I will be right back. Can you handle it for just a minute? You're the best.
So waiting to see if V is going to make that $30 break. It's inside the $29 handle. Need a little bit more volume here. We could see that. NXTC trying to recapture the 65 EMA. CLSK still moving back up. We have the smaller EMAs, the 9 and the 15 next. 65 EMA and VWAP are still higher. VMAR hasn't halted yet, but it is turning around, trying to get back up to the 200 EMA. And I don't know when it was, but UBXG apparently unhalted and went lower. It is now beneath its 200 EMA, almost giving back the entire price action from yesterday. Not too much more to go before we give back everything. Here. What are you guys talking about? Peter Dinklage, huh? Is VMAR about to halt back up? I'm still waiting for that. Still waiting to see if we're going to get any halts. Any opinions on American Airlines at $16?
AAL.
I
don't. Go ahead.
This is a previous resistance area from the turn of the year. The end of 2025, beginning of 2026. So this is a support area that we're at. I would think that, from about 1550 to 16 is going to be your range there. You also have the 50-day SMA down at 1480. That's going to be support. So I don't know that you're necessarily going to see a reversal here at 16. You might. There could also still be a little bit more downside in the search for support inside that range that I gave. So it might be looking for a support area right about here, based on that the chart and the topping out that it was having at the end of the year, beginning of this year.
I don't like any of the airlines. I mean, Delta would be the one I'd want to trade, but just don't really care for them. I think your chart analysis is right on, though.
It's probably not a great trade right now with the risk to the oil and energy again.
Yeah.
By the way, V printed a new high, 31.85. It's above 30 right now. Let's see if it can close above that. We got another 23 seconds.
Okay, if we have another 23 seconds, that means it's almost time for Anne-Marie. See how I did that there? 13. Any closing words for the group?
Hey, congratulations if you're trading V again. Just be careful. We don't want to turn that V into an L. So, victory L. Anyway, congratulations on all the trades this morning. We'll be back here. I'll be back here tomorrow. We'll find if there's more things to trade. Maybe we'll hit V again. But until then, have a great time with Anne-Marie, and I will see everybody tomorrow. Goodbye. Have a good time.
All right, 13, great stuff. Yet again, have a great rest of your Tuesday. We will catch you tomorrow. 13's departure leaves room for Anne-Marie. Here she is. Anne-Marie, happy Tuesday. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. I will say intraday for day trading here, it feels a little bit slow. So that's what's going on. But otherwise, we have not had a bad day here at all. Not at all. So doing good. What are you more excited now? What do you have for us?
Well, let's just take a quick look at what's actually happening. Let's take a look at SPY.
Perfect.
So staring SPY down, what we're seeing is a pretty fair bit of sideways motion. And what these red bars are ATR, very big ATR candles relative to the rest of the chart. And so they give us a good view of where potential support and resistance are sitting for now. And so if we get up above 753, chances are we're going to head back to a brand new high, or at least the old high up there at 760. And right now we are chopping through that zone. And so that's the big thing to realize. If you take a look at a 30-minute chart, which is the one over here, you can see that it's pretty much sloshed. That's why your indicators have been going from positive to negative on your 0 DTE SPYs. Yep. So my thought is that if you are looking for that sort of reflexive motion and not a carry through, then maybe look for the top of these edges near 753 and such. 754, then you can buy yourself a put, watch it leak down, but the whole day is very, very sideways. Same thing for the calls. The big wicks down to the bottom are going to give you the buy zones. If you're looking for intraday motion, those wicks will help you move, because we're in the middle of summer slosh.
Yep.
And it's just going to be one of those things. So that being said, what I put up here are all the stocks that are now able to be traded 24 hours a day. And so, yeah, that's a lot of them. I had no idea the list was this big. So one of the things we're seeing is healthcare really red as a group, but as a giant move, healthcare has moved all the way up really, really fast. Most of them are overbought, and so they're just leaking a little. There might be a pretty nice trade for reflexive motion. We might check out Eli Lilly. Let me see who else I want to take a look at. Palo Alto. I'd written a list, and then, like a bonehead, I forgot to take a look at what the options were running, right? Because I was looking at CleanSpark, and I was looking at Lumentum, but Lumentum is still very interesting. So let's just take a look at a couple of these that have got some room, and they've been tickers that people are watching. This MP Materials is sitting at a very interesting buy space. Doesn't mean it's going to be a buy space, but it's sitting at a very interesting buy space, and that's because from 2 earnings ago, it's battling at that 50 marker into earnings that are going to begin in August. And so what I guess your 0 DTE went off again. Long. Yeah. Wow.
No,
what wicks?
SPY just spiked, but my right now we're outside of the primary trade windows. This is actually known as the death zone, because this is where 0 DTE premium just gets evaporated. So I don't have any signal at the moment.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Okay, so here is the storyboard for what's going on with these materials. And interestingly, all industrial materials have seen a fade. They've been really oversold, and that's why copper and a few of those metals and materials are trying to get a bounce right here in the space. And so we could see ourselves a pretty nice mean reversion, but certainly this is not a chart that you're going to look at and go, yeah, I think I'm going long, right? It's just, it does not have any oomph on it. And certainly I would not expect it to really do much of anything until it breaks 73. So I'm going to put an alert there. As you know, I think alerts are superpowers. So here it is. coming into earnings. 70 is the top of the range. What does it normally do? It's got fades and then big bounces, and then to the next earnings event, it's got a bounce and then a fade and then a bounce, then the fade and then the move up and then the collapse. So we are seeing a lot of sideways motion here. It's a great iron condor. So let's see if they can pay for it. And let's use August. Wait. August? Yes, the 5th. Perfect. So we can see the traders are crowding right up around this 65 area. The resistance really looks like potentially 70, right, in terms of this big patch. So if you're willing to let your call side go into the money and then back down, which I suspect it does, you could do that 65 area. If you're chasing, somebody just came in with 1106 today. So if you're chasing them and you're thinking to yourself, hey, I'm going to go to the long side here, this is a pretty cheap spread. If you do 60 to 65, it's 75 cents. Bullish, of course, because you're thinking that it's going to go up into resistance. But really, as soon as that earnings clips, the day after earnings, you're going to have to cover this because it'll likely evaporate. We've seen so much sideways action with the chart. So from a short perspective, nothing looks grand, right? You could do a 65, 70, and then that, where are we? 45, that's where everybody's piled up. Yes. You could do the 45, 40. I mean, $1 is the minimum that I look for a $5 spread. So that also works. And if you're thinking, hey, we might have ourselves a little bit of a fade coming off of here, because listen, if this earnings event disappoints after really spending 3 earnings cycles in a range, this is going to fill the gap. My thought, it'll eventually grind down into that gap. If you're thinking to yourself, all right, well, let's give it a grind. How long does it take? It looks like it could take as much as, a whole month and a half maybe of earnings motion. So you might look at September and look at how they've piled up here. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot of piling out. Now, they could be betting to the long side because we know September is supposed to, the late September, early October is supposed to give us the rally. Maybe they're trying to get in on the cheap. For me, I would be looking at that 40 to 35 put spread, which is 91 cents. And if you wanted to, if you wanted to counter that with a short spread, you could do the 65, 70, and that would pay for about 2/3 of your position. But MP is one of those spaces that you can go, hey, there's something that's going to happen here. This is very critical. They've been here since July of 2025, so it's been an entire year in a peat bog. Earnings is very likely to give it some catalyst, either through the gap into the lower edges or up into resistance again, and they just sit in that messy zone. But this is going to be one to watch over the next few cycles for sure.
Okay.
For sure. Okay, so let's go to copper. And I like Southern Copper the best. I think it's got a lot. This full disclosure, I own this. And so It's come off of its lows, 1, 2, 3, 4 days off of the bounce area, right near 168. Notice it's run so hard. I don't know why my earnings candles aren't printing here. Maybe they don't. Well, I mean, it's showing up here. They're just not coloring. That's bizarre. Interesting. Okay, so it's broken out of the last earnings area very nicely, and these guys have been oversold. So this is a fairly nice event where you could have a bounce into the rally here. Here's the problem. The market's very sideways. So just going straight long calls or a long call spread, you could see a ton of price erosion. So what do I want to do? I want to sell a call spread way up at the top, and I want to sell a put spread way down on the bottom. It's still in heavy consolidation. It's moved from bottom to top to bottom to top to bottom to top to bottom. We anticipate that it's movement on the top. If you are, gunslinger and you just want to go for it, you can. Let me move this out of the way. Again, we want to look at August, give ourselves some room. If you're thinking that it's going to go to that 190, you can. A lot of people are right there. You think it goes to 200? Here's the 185 to 200. It's $1.75, so it's not cheap, but oftentimes cheap is not great when you're trying to get something that's got a higher probability of success. There's always that string in the options market. Super cheap, probability of working, very outside on the tails. More expensive, probability of working in the fat part of the curve. So if you want to look at something like that and then say, okay, can I pay for it some other way? You can sell the 210, 220, and wait a second, is it that 175, 200? Look at that. You get no value. The 210, 220s. Yeah, you don't want to do that. That's
Why is that, Anne-Marie?
These options are mispriced.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Right? So when it comes all together and you're trying to sell it in some sort of plus, this is only 5 wide and the other one is 10 wide. So that's, you could go 190 to 200 and then 210 to 220. That's $1.43, right? So it's cheaper than, you might even get it for under $1. Just put a cheap bid in there, see what you can get. But it is 10 wide, and that's not bad for bounce action. That's very likely on the horizon for copper. What else do I want to? Oh, yeah. If you're thinking about selling the spread, which, I revert to that because I'm a serial seller, I will go to, where is that floor? 160. 160 to 150. That's pretty nice. It's almost half the size of the spread. So that also looks really, really good for a rotational event and holding of the floor, right? So there we have that. What else can we look at? Let's see.
Do you want to do any of the earnings plays?
Sure, let's do it.
Because we have our choice here. So in fact, we'll turn this over to you. Here's our choice. So today, here's the earnings calendar for this week. Today we had JP Morgan, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, and Citi and Wells Fargo all report earnings. Looking ahead, ASML tomorrow morning. That might be a decent one.
Yeah.
So and then TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor, Thursday morning.
Ooh, that's
Netflix
going to be
Thursday
interesting.
afternoon. So we have some pretty decent ones
Yeah.
to take a look at here. You tell me what you like the most. All of those chains should be pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start. Let's just take a look at Goldman and
Okay.
see how much bigger this move is versus some of its other moves. So this one had a range of $60 almost, and this one has a range of 40, 50. So this one is really used to expanding, but look at what it's done over the last 3 earnings cycles. Big move up, and then a fade, and then a collapse to the bottom of the range. Big move up, and then a fade that collapsed to the bottom of a range, failure to catch the top, and the fade down. This one, big move up into the old earnings event, and then old resistance, new support. So what might we expect from these big move up rotations? My thought is a general fade. And so I would not be disinclined also to take an iron condor here. I think it would really be, actually, I want to write this down. Okay. Yeah. So that one actually looks really, really good. Check it out. You can open them up tomorrow. This is what this chart does. It runs, and then after its earnings, it just leaks all the way back down into the earnings space, and it's got a gap here. So there's a lot of motion that you can look through. Let's take a look at Netflix, because I was talking about Netflix to a couple of folks. Someone was saying, hey, what about a bottoming event? And listen, it sounds great, but who knows with this chart? A lot of people are short, and shorts could easily continue. This is a big line, 72. And so if you're thinking to yourself, all right, what could happen? Look at how the option traders are positioning in here. Check this out. So they're right into the earning space and expiration, because this would be the expiration date, right? When do they? Is it the 16th or is it the 17th?
It's Thursday. So that is the 16th, right? Yeah, 16th
Okay, yeah,
after hours.
16th.
Yep.
Okay, so a lot of people are piling in here, taking a really big bet. Vol is very high, but a lot of people are stepping into a straddle or a strangle. So the 70, let me take this off the range so we can see. There's 32,000 at 70 on the put side and 22,000 at 75 on the call side. That's 368. So what they're gambling on at this juncture is that it has to move above $79 for them to make any money, or below $76.50 or so to make any money. Excuse me, $66.50 or so to make any money. And that seems like a really expensive bet to me. So if you did want to take it, I would say, because the chains, look at this, 40,000 of them at 80. So I think those guys are, I don't see it. But what you could do is sell the 78, and if it does move up, you'll kind of break even, but if it moves down, you're going to make some money. So that's it. But look at how they're piling in, 74,000 on the 75 put. Look at how they're piling up into August. Take a look at this. 50,000 of them at 73. on the put side. And so there is a very big contingent that is very likely short. Now, you might say, wait a second. If we are long the options and they are short, the market makers short the options, then if the stock goes down, the market maker is going to have to sell. And so we could see a very gigantic cascade past, a very gigantic cascade past 75. If it loses that ledge, because that's a line that is going to be a pretty big deal to cross. Now, if you're a gambler, you could go into this one and choose that 75 right there on the put side. I mean, it's got 74,000 sitting there. So, I mean, you could do it. If you think it's too expensive, you could do the 75-70 put spread, but it's still, I mean, that's 100% return, but you're hoping for more than that if you're taking an earnings bet.
Yeah,
So,
no question.
So yeah. So Netflix is one of those weird ones that it normally has high implied vol, which means a big move, but it also normally has a big move. And so let's take a look at the last 3 earnings events and see if it actually, here's a big gap down. It never recovers, but it does tell us where to short at the top of that earnings candlestick right there. Same thing for this one here. It gaps down, but the bounces into the top of the earnings candle gives us the short. Here, again, another gap down, bounces into the close of that candlestick. It gives us the short. I mean, you got to be gambling with Bill Gates money to say, hey, I'm going long here. This thing looks like a disaster. Now, go ahead.
I was going to say the chart absolutely looks like a disaster. It gets worse when you start looking at the company and how they're raising prices and people aren't happy and the content's terrible. Now they're looking to get into more live sports, trying to bring creator stuff on. Like they're trying to do stuff there to kind of plug all the holes. The question is, how many fingers do you have, right? There might be more than 10 holes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if I were a betting man, I would say, go out a little bit, September, October, and buy yourself something cheap, like the 60s, where there's already 12,000 in open interest. That's just follow where these guys are hanging out. If you're into it, of course.
I'm a pass on Netflix personally.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a look at, you want to do Taiwan Semiconductor?
Yeah, let's do that.
These guys will give us the
That's perfect.
sniff test. They'll give us the sniff test on what to look at. Here's a high. A lot of people are saying, hey, is the semis topping, da-da-da-da-da. Listen, this is a very cyclic place. A lot of people seeing money in the environment, and they are just doing their very best to compete in the space, whomever can compete in that space. This chart has run, holy smokes, I'm going to have to draw Fibonacci on this to see how it's been since its last. This thing's run more than 10x since its last 10x. What are we looking at? 3x since, good grief, wrong, 30% since it's moved up off of this area. And so now it's coming back into the normal zone. This is sort of the edge of, holy cow, what's going on here? If that ever happens with my segments, I move to a weekly chart to see what happens during the week. But This rotation, we're underneath a monthly VWAP. And so until we recover that, this chart is in a bit of a slosh. I would not be surprised to see a bounce turn into a profit-taking space. And so that's really what I would be looking at. I'd be saying, hey, the old earnings event, old resistance, new support, just a little bit of an edge. 380 might be a good spot. Momentum is pretty negative, and so bounces are going to be sells. I, for one, let's see where the traders are sitting before I do that. Okay, so let's see where the traders are sitting for the actual expiry here. 13,000 of them at 300. Wow. 12,000 at 8. These guys probably have been in here for a long time as they were moving up. Here's 350. 380 is that line that I am seeing. Look, 17,000 of them right there. And then 19,000 of them here at 420. So, if you're thinking about taking a trade and you're bullish in this space and you think it's going to give you a really nice bounce, somebody's put a spread on here, the 450, 460 spread. These are almost identical. That's $1.38. If you're bullish, then, a 10x move on that space. If you're bearish, 420 to 410, much more expensive. This seems to me to be one of those spaces where you go, there might be a lot of people on the bullish side of the boat that are going to use any kind of bounce to get out of the charts. Yeah. So
Okay, so you think the upside here is capped then?
I do in the short term.
Okay.
Yeah. I do believe it's going to be in the short term.
Okay. God, we got less than 2 minutes here. Anything else you want to finish off with?
I don't. I want to say, listen, if you're keen on playing a mean reversion event, this is not a bad group to go digging in.
Okay.
This healthcare group, they've really been overbought. And then, of course, metals and materials having a bounce. That's probably a space that we're going to see price action try to take a dip. Try to take a bounce off of those dips.
Okay. All right, Anne-Marie, really good stuff here today. Happy Tuesday. We're going to see how the rest of the week.
Also.
Yeah, we'll see how the rest of the week turns out here. We'll see you on Friday, though, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, fantastic. Okay. Anne-Marie Baiynd, everyone. We'll see you on Friday. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Enjoy the All-Star game. I know you watch the baseball.
Yes.
Okay,
You too. Bye-bye.
Will do. That is Anne-Marie, folks, and that is it for us today. Another good day here, another good Tuesday. V, I know it's going absolutely crazy, so we're going to keep finding those things to trade. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll catch you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.